Hey y'all, welcome back to another live episode of Spirit of the Outdoors, live from Mississippi. Barefooted as a duck, listening to the chickens cluck. See if we can get these comments pulled up on him. I bet this thing's on wide open. I'll have to watch all of the ads before I can get tuned in to y'all. I got a good fire going back here in the background. It's nice and hot. But the thing is, drafting, you notice that whenever there ain't no wind blowing, it seems to draft good. And I think my whole problem is the fact that that thing is not airtight. So we swapped over from Friday night to Saturday night. We'll see how the turnout is. I may have to adjust my cameras. Do I look like I'm too far off? Is the volume okay? I mean, y'all hearing good? I know usually we struggle right off the bat with a service, so I don't know. But we had my sister and them here last night, and I wanted to cook and for all of them while they're here. And last night was going to be the best option to do that. They've been up here helping Dad build his building for his reloading and shooting, and his hobby is guns. And he was building him a little bigger building to do all of that in and to put his stuff in, and he wanted to hang some of his deer heads and just other things, and I think he more or less wanted to build a building. So they've been up here helping him do that. So last night I decided to fire the smoker back here up and cook a brisket. Now, I did not film cooking the brisket. I did make an Instagram reel, and there's a reel on Facebook of it. I cannot put it on YouTube because it's too long. It's like over... The shorts on YouTube have to be a minute or less. Well, this is like 90 seconds or right at it. And so anyway, though, last night I cooked a brisket. I'm telling y'all, it turned out as good as any brisket I've ever cooked. And then I just throwed some ribs on there, smoked them. Now, y'all, I don't like ribs falling apart. I know a lot of y'all like to wrap ribs up in tinfoil and you want them to pull a bone out of them. I do not like my ribs that way. I refuse to eat them that way because I'd rather have pulled pork if I'm going to eat mush meat. And so I like to gnaw them off the bone, but now that's my personal preference. That don't mean one way's better than the other one. It's just the way I like to do things. I heard that somewhere. So anyway, that is what happened last night, and we cooked and ate and had a good time. And I said, well, we'll just swap over to Saturday night and do the live and discuss whatever y'all come up with you want to talk about, have a good time. I see a lot of y'all tuning in. I got to go do a little bit of fishing this afternoon, me and Brody at the pond. We went to my in-laws' pond over there, and it's got brim and bass in it, is all that's in that pond. And, well, there is catfish in it. I put some of the catfish in there. And Brody, I wasn't really gonna film. We was just me and Brody went over there to do some fishing, have a good time. And I was changing baits. We had fished about an hour, hadn't really had no luck, caught like 2 fish, and I'd hang a fish and hand him the reel and let him reel it in. Took his picture with it, whatnot. I looked around in a minute while I was changing baits, and he was a-hollering, and he was over there reeling a fish in. He throwed the bait, picked out what bait he wanted to fish with. I put him a lizard on. It was a zoom, and I don't know the color. I've got to pack around there. I have to look, but they're a pink looking with blue metal flake in there, glitter in it. And they was tearing that thing up. And of course, now we talking about bass about half a pound. And he caught 3 or 4 right by himself. And I was as tickled, y'all, as a daddy could be. I mean, that is, the first fish they reel in, you know, when they this big, when you've caught it and handed them the pole and they hold, you know, tell them that's their fish. But when your kid throws the reel, does everything themselves, and catches their first fish all by themselves with no help whatsoever, it's a proud moment. And I was tickled to death for Brody. He got all excited about fishing, and it didn't last all of the whole trip, but we had a good time. And if that fire, I'm not going to try to keep it just blazing, y'all. I put some wood on it, and it'll burn, and when that burns up, that's going to be it. I'm not going to poke that fire up, so. Anyway, I'll see y'all gathering in. I'm going to try to catch up and read on some comments and see what y'all want to talk about. Greetings from Alaska. How y'all up in Alaska? Is it nice and warm? I think we're sitting on right now about 73 to 74 or 5 degrees, somewhere along in there. There's a glare right where the needle's at, but I know we're right about 70 something degrees here. And it is 7 o'clock here in Mississippi. We got folks from Alabama. I know we got some Mississippi folks. I see some more Alabama. Michigan in the house. Brian Pruitt, I know that's a fact. I know that is a fact, cause ain't much to look at, but here you good. That's all we need to know. Yeah, Brian, also, I'll read your next comment. Bluegill is one of the main reasons I bought the fish knife. And this is by far now my favorite scaler, probably my favorite processing knife, because I'm not just hugely bad to go catch a cooler slam full of fish. I generally catch what I want to cook that night, and I'm done. I'll keep catching fish and start putting them back in the water and whatever else, you know. I don't know. I know a lot of people, they like to see if they can fill a cooler slam full, and you know, that kind of makes me cringe. I see a cooler slam full of fish, and I'm like, I just no throwing rocks at them people. I don't know, you know, if they may be fixing to feed a whole bunch of people, and they may be doing all good things. So I'm not gonna condemn somebody, but I don't do that. So this knife, I can take my time and with a brim and cut it off the bones like that. Now those small brim that we have down here in the swamp for the most part are what we call red bellies. It's the red-breasted sunfish, but we call them red bellies. That's my favorite thing to get in down here as far as a small panfish, and you can just about fry them whole. And they won't be, a big one won't be long as your hand. But this, I could cut it like that and get the bones out. And y'all, I want to know, does anybody have any experience smoking fish from my area? Now, I realize they smoking trout, salmon, all these mullet and stuff, but I don't have any of those fish here. We've got bass, white perch, which crappie, we call them white perch. And somebody will badly correct that, because we don't even have a perch here. We have what we call a sun perch, but we don't have an actual perch. They may be some of some description in the Mississippi River system, but I'm not 100% on that. But we have like brim, bluegill. We call all bluegill brim. We got brim, crappie, catfish, suckers, gar, grinnell, bass. And that's for the most part, it's about it. I have never smoked any fish as far as like a long-term preservation. I would like to experiment that. I have bought several recipe books over the last couple of weeks, ordered them, picked up some in thrift stores such as this, because I'm going to try to do better cooking videos, and I want to experiment with new ways of cooking things. So if anybody's got any experience with smoking fish, I want to hear about it. Ways, and I'm talking about fish from my area. The fish that I have, can you smoke them? What is the best, recipe? Should you brine them? Shouldn't you brine them? Garfish. So at least we know, Dave, it is possible to smoke them. That's kind of the stuff I'm looking for, which I'm going to assume you can smoke about anything. It may not be good. Appalachian Explorers, I'd love to. I want to come fish some other places. My problem is I can't seem to keep everything squared away here where I can go do anything. I've been going to go to Tom Bigby and take the camper and stay. And we started discussing this morning, taking it tomorrow evening. We've got a morning church service, and that's it. They're going to do a kids' petting zoo after church and have a candy rain, do some kid stuff. But after that, we're going to have family eatings and all. And then I decided, you know what, we're going to be pushed. Kids is going to want to hunt eggs. There ain't no need in rushing up there after 2 or 3 o'clock trying to get a camper set up. I just scratched it again. So hopefully week after next week would be good early in the week. I'm probably going to try to fish like Monday. But it's going to rain like Wednesday, turn cold. And we talking about low in the 40s, high in the 60s. Not really cold, but cool. Put a damper on the fishing for 2 or 3 days. Week after next, I'm probably going to try to go take off into some fishing. Anyway, Uncle Sasquatch, I don't know where Roscoe run off to. He was out here. Probably in the house by now. But my fishing has been, I don't know, the few lakes that I have tried to go fish, I have caught temperatures all wrong, weather all wrong, water all wrong. I have not had great success anywhere. Fishing with people that know how to catch fish, trying to help me show the ropes of lake fishing, and just stuff never went right. So I don't know. What is your ideal boat for fishing bass? Is 2 to 3 people. The ideal boat's the one you got. I love my skeeter boat for fishing, crappie fishing or bass fishing. But I'm not gonna sit here and say one boat is better than another one. I like aluminum boats, because we got a lot of places with stumps, limbs, sticks. If I'm ripping it up the Tom Bigby River or the Pearl River down here, whatever, and there's a chunk floating out there that I didn't see, and I hit it, I feel like I have a better opportunity with aluminum boat than I do a big fiberglass boat. Now, I don't know that to be the case. I don't have a lot of experience with fiberglass boats. I would say a decked boat with a full deck with rod lockers and where you put your tackle boxes down in the deck of the boat with a live well is the way to go for crappie and bass fishing. And any boat that's over, 5-6 foot wide, your most of your bigger boats is gonna be ideal. I really don't say one's better than other. But now when it comes to catfishing, I want as much open as I can get. I don't want decks and all that in a catfishing boat. And that is why we have 2 boats. And then for the swamp down here, you've got to have a small John boat for it. So that is why I have 3 boats. I know Tyler had done ask a couple of times about grinnell fishing baits. And I tried to answer last night on a comment, Tyler, about it. And before I could hit send on a message I replied, the whole thing was gone. Like, I seen the comment and then it was deleted. And I don't know if you deleted it or if YouTube deleted it. Either way, I was trying to reply to it when it got deleted. I'd typed out a whole big long thing. But now I do in my area now. Bowfin are predator fish. Grinnell, I call them, are predator fish, and they're after live bait for the most part. But when you go in fishing and you've never caught one and you just want to catch one, a cork, a bobber, and cut bait is king by far. I mean, cut bait, fresh, like you catch a brim and cut him up in pieces and hang it on a hook and throw it out there with a cork on it where you can see it. And you can tight line for them. They'll pick it up off the bottom. But that cork, I can watch it. And when that thing starts running, you can catch them on that. We have caught them on large minnows, live bait. But I like plastic baits because down here in this swamp, open hooks, you're going to get tangled up in everything. There's logs in different places, brush tops falling, dead limbs. I mean, it's a constant getting tangled up in something with a hook. So I like a hook buried up into, well, actually, I've got to where I skin hook them into plastic, but I skin hook them pretty deep so that I can bounce over logs. And that is, I like crawfish colors. I really love a bigger crawfish, like a brush hog type bait, but I want crawfish colors. Green on top, orange on the bottom is ideal for me. But the gray and orange, I like some orange in the bait. I like a lot of greens, but I have fished with green lizards. We have caught them with worms. You catch them with a black and pink tail, which they call a firetail worm. So there's a lot of good baits that you can catch the bowfin with. But I will say this, Grinnell is by far my favorite fish to go after. I looked today, the river back here in the swamp was at 13 feet, which means there is no turkeys in it. There is no fish in it right now. You could run catfish lines if you could get a boat in it. I don't have a place to put a boat in there. Now, I could go back down where I was at and put the canoe in, but y'all, I got wore out fighting all that swift water in a canoe, and you can't film good. Once I've made the same video 2 or 3 times, I'm not interested in doing the same thing over. So I have caught them in the canoe. I want to take the John boat and fish in it, and I hadn't been able to do that. Craig, and big catfish tough to clean. John, them Grinnell are the best fighting fish that I've caught. Now, I have not caught every fish. There's a couple of fish that I would love to catch. Number one, I would love in salt water to catch a shark. I don't know why. I just think that would be one of the coolest things is to catch a shark. I have not been up and done any kind of trout fishing. I would like to do that. What have you got me, bud?
It's for me.
Oh, you didn't bring me one?
He made cupcakes today.
He has made cupcakes. Tell them about your fish you caught by yourself.
It was a big old whale.
It was a bass.
Uh-huh.
You gonna tell them how you caught it?
I jerked it in.
He don't get too elaborate with his tales, does he?
Daddy wants a cupcake.
Daddy wants a cupcake.
So Michigan Prepper, it's got to reach 150 degrees to kill parasites. Preferably at the end of the smoking process. So is there how long does it take to smoke a fish, basically? Couple of hours. I seen Clay Hayes did a video on it today on some mullet that he had got somewhere. Jimmy, if something don't change, me and you gonna have to go down there and cut a drain ditch to that swamp when it does gets down where we want it, we can close it back up. The problem is once it gets down to where you can fish, it drops down to too low to fish real quick. Yeah, JT, they'll tear all your gear up. And they'll break your pole. You flop one of them big old rascals over in a boat with you, and they'll break every pole laying in the boat. Y'all think this boy might be a little bit of a monkey? Yeah, Craig, we want to go do all of that. I definitely do. Here comes Roscoe back. Where you been? He's been MIA. Uncle Sasquatch was asking about you. He keeps a close eye on you, buddy.
Dad.
What?
Ordered that. I showed some new toys.
Yeah, he's got new toys.
He's more than that.
Miss Donna sent that bone that was stuffed with cotton, and them and Roxanne shredded it. It didn't. We no longer have it. I mean, they shredded that thing. I don't know how, but they did. Dave, I'm drinking out of a fat bottle mug. This is this is the one I had that was dark. We refired it higher. Somebody ordered one that is just come out of the keel today. It will get shipped out first of next week. You slobbering all over my screen there, Cadillac Jack. What you looking at? Yeah. That ain't you on there, is it?
That is me.
Oh. Yeah, Jimmy, I got your cup sitting in there. Oh, it's sitting on the counter. Dave said, love that blue speckled coffee cup. Yeah, we're going to be making some just like this, speckled one like this, and I'm going to be making this brown color. And, of course, we can do them in any of the other colors that we normally do, or more feminine colors, in my opinion. So I was experimenting with these darker colors to get some more manly colors. But now I like the speckled myself. But yeah, we're gonna be, and they should be on the website. Where when you order them, I don't know how that website's set up, y'all. I have not fooled with it no whole lot, so I don't know exactly how it works. But you if you get on there and order, if you can't get on there and order what you want on the website, message me somewhere. Brody, please settle down so I can think. And I will order. I mean, I can make you any of the colors we got in these fat bottom cups. Any of the colors that you have seen us do, this brown, the blue speckled, whatever, it can be done. And they should be on the website in that blue speckled, I know, and this brown. So, yeah, JL, somebody got the ears lowered. Sandra, these cups are $34. Now, I don't know what the shipping is on them. We have to add shipping to that. I'm not sure what. I think the other cups may be 20-something. I don't know. Brody, go ask Mama how much the other cups are. Yeah. He needs another cupcake, don't he? They said give you some more sugar. You need some more sugar? Don't slobber on me. That's a good way to get in trouble. All right, settle down, son. You making Roscoe a mite nervous. I can't think with him monkeying like this, y'all. My head, look, you're going to have to quit. I'm going to have to get your mama to come get you. What? He cut out. He you don't jump up here. All right, y'all. So anyway, back to the fishing. We quit. With Dave talking about the hollering, I went back up, was reading some other comments. When I took JR and Nikki, I took them down to my honey hole. And we was catching some good grinnell down there. And after all my hooping and hollering and carrying on, we quit catching them. I mean, I do run them off now. There ain't no doubt about it. Sandra, the other cups we have, I don't have no way of showing. She may have one in there somewhere. But they're smaller at the bottom and taper out just a regular coffee cup, but they're on the website.
You asked me a question.
I don't know how much are the regular cups.
The small ones are 24.
The regular cups are $24, and then these fat bottom cups are $34. But Brody, you got to do something to him. I can't think with him running around in circles.
Come here, here's some dry Easter eggs.
Hey, I know what you need to be doing. You need to get some of them blocks and throw them in under that fire right over there. We got a whole bunch of blocks off my daddy's building over there he want me to burn up. Look, stick them up under that, where them coals are, slide it up in, yeah. Don't overload it, but put a few in there. Get some smaller ones and put in there. That'll give him something to do. Turkey treading. Oh, Lord. No, JT, I wouldn't trade it neither. He was, when he caught that fish today, I was more excited than he was. Sandra Scarlett, if you look, it's southernmudpottery.net, but I've got the link in every one of my videos, y'all. Every video I've been posting has a link to my Amazon store, which has got everything I've been using in past videos. All of my favorite things from Amazon is on that store. And as I buy stuff and start using it and like it, I add it to the store. Southern Mud Pottery is linked down there in those videos in the description box. And my Etsy store to buy all of the Spirit of the Outdoors merchandise is in the Etsy store. Son, you're not even getting them up in the fire. You're going to have to get them further back in there.
I've seen how I do.
Yeah, well, you're not getting them in the fire, son. Boy.
Don't get burnt.
Well, if I do, it's going to be your fault.
I'm going to whack you in the head.
It'll be the last person you ever whack in the head. Give me that. There. All right, that's enough.
One more.
Ain't nothing ever enough, is it? Oh, Lord. Yeah, get you one of them mugs. Get you 2 or 3 of them. I will say this. Most of the stuff we order, there's at least a 2-week wait before it ships. So, in other words, when you place an order, it'll probably be 2 weeks before it ships out because the stuff on there is made to order. Like, when you order it, then I make it because as I regularly make stuff, it winds up going to stores because we do more wholesale than anything.
Gobble, 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 gobble. Gobble, 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 gobble.
No, the picture of this app is free. Now, you can pay for it. You can upgrade it. And you have to, every time you have to use it, you have to close out the thing. So when it comes up, if you're not careful of what you hit on the screen, it'll take you to the where you upgrade it out. But you can use it free indefinitely. as long as you close out that advertisement screen.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Oh,
Dave said the WD-40 would keep dirt daubers out of your boat motor, but you got to spray it every once in a while to keep them out. He said if you spray the underside of the hood, put it on there, it won't be a dirt dauber nest all in there.
Come here, let's go down there in just a minute.
Can we do that
Um, I use a picture of this out pretty regular. Go in there with your mama.
Gobble, 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 gobble,
And it for learning plants, and I was talking last night to somebody. We was discussing about learning plants, and I love plants probably about as much as I do fishing. I really can enjoy just walking around and seeing what I find and seeing what it is. Now I have pretty well covered the stuff that I have on this property. Obviously, I find new stuff pretty regular. There's some things I've tried to grow here that I've not been able to get to grow. I hadn't been able to get my cardinal flower to grow here. I've got one growing in a bucket down here right now. I hadn't been able to get mullein to grow from a seed. But if you're going to try to learn plants, the picture of this app is probably the best starting place. Go out in your yard, in your property, in your woods, wherever you're at, wherever you're going to look for plants, and just see what you see. If it's something you don't know what it is, take a picture of it. Scan it with picture this. And take a couple of pictures of it. Take it from different angles. That way you can come home and research things that you're curious about. And once you take a...
I saw something.
You didn't see nothing. Once you scan it with picture this out, you can... I'm having trouble thinking, y'all, with him hollering. I can't... My mind ain't geared like that. So take a picture of it with picture this out. And look, in the house. I need you in the house, bud. I love you. Inside. Scan it with picture this. It'll give you a starting point. It'll tell you about what plant you've got. It may not be right 100% of the time. So what you do then is you go to Google and you look at the images you've got, or you standing there looking at the plant if you happen to have service where you're at. Sometimes I don't have services. Why? Taking a picture is a good idea. Take it from a couple of angles where you want good pictures of the arrangement of how the leaves come off of the stem. You want a good picture of the leaf. You want a good picture of the flower if it has one. You want a good picture of the stem. You want to know about how tall it is, because these are your main characteristics that are going to help you identify this plant. One of the key things about a flower, other than, hey, this is the color and this is what the flower looks like to help me identify it, is knowing when this flower was in bloom. If I know, well, hey, it's blooming now, well, once you start researching, you can see when these plants bloom. Most plants have a different time frame when they're bloom, and you want to harvest a plant for medicinal purposes along the time that it is blooming. That's when the medicinal qualities are at the highest up around the leaf and bloom section. If you're harvesting a root plant like I do, the greenbrier, the ideal time to harvest it is going to be over in the fall or throughout the winter, because all the medicinal properties are going to be down in the root. That don't mean that anytime you need that plant that the root is going to be not any good. I can go dig up greenbrier right now and make a tincture out of it and it'll work. It's just not going to be as strong as it would have been another time of the year. So, going out there and scanning a plant will picture this out. and then looking at it with Google. When you pull it up in Google, click images and go through there and look at all the pictures of it. If the plant you're looking at has the same characteristics of 90% of those pictures, then you've probably got the right plant. And always search them in Google by the Latin name or the botanical name or the scientific name. It's the same thing because they'll have a common name and they'll have a Latin name. That Latin name is going to be the same regardless of what, because you can take plants that's growing right here in my area and the locals around here is going to call it one thing. Well, then somebody over here may call it something else. You take rabbit tobacco, it is known as white balsam, rabbit tobacco, sweet everlasting. It's Nagphalium obtusifolium is the scientific name. That is how you want to search for that plant. Because sometimes these common names, there may be another plant in another area that somebody else calls by that same name. So your common name can get you crossed up. Go with the Latin name. That is the best way to properly identify a plant. But now, if, like I'm talking to people in my area and I'm talking by the common name, we all know what plant we're dealing with. And sometimes if you're seeking knowledge from older generations of people that do know about plants, you're going to have to know what common name they refer to it as because they may not even know the scientific name. And there's nothing wrong with all this. You've got to be intelligent enough to decipher between the two when it's the right time to use what name and not go to correcting people about, oh, you're using the wrong name. Because if that's what they know it is, that's what it is to them, and that's all there is to it. Now, if they want to learn the scientific name, then you can help them, but you can't force knowledge on the people that's not wanting it, and it don't matter how hard you try or how right you think you are. You're not inside where I told you. That pine wood, y'all, will get to smoking like crazy. And then all of a sudden, it'll flame up. But we probably didn't. I thought we had a bed of coals enough for that other wood to burn, but it may not. Sandra, yes, all of our pottery is microwave safe and food safe. You can cook in it. If you buy our big casserole dishes, you can cook in those dishes. Ain't you supposed to be inside?
I'm a turkey. Turkeys.
Ain't you supposed to be inside? Bless his heart, Charlie. Just can't help it.
I'm a turkey. Turkeys belong outside.
Well, don't they need to belong in the front yard? Lord. I'm not sure about the Seek. I want to think it is free. The iNaturalist, I don't know if that's the one I had. I had two other apps, and I just found a lot of plants. Picture This was the most accurate, is the reason I went with it. But use whichever one you like, which is user friendly to you. I'm not making nothing off of an app. I don't care which one you use. But my personal experience, I had the best luck with Picture This. So my reason for using it. Diane, I do wish I had his energy too, because I've struggled for the last week to get everything I needed to do done, and I just don't have that kind of energy no more. We may have to put him a little bit of Benadryl in a cherry cola.
Turkey.
Yeah, Michigan, that's the way I'd be. I'd have to get on one of them redneck diet plans. That stuff they smoke that glass pipe might get you like that. I don't know. Ain't worth it to me though. I just sit here in my. And I tell y'all something else. We have gravitated to decaffeinated coffee for the evenings. I don't no longer going to be drinking caffeinated coffee in the afternoons. I think I've been consuming too much caffeine. When you're talking about all these apps, so y'all, if you where you've got internet, that's a good thing. Now mine works pretty well through the phone service, but take pictures. Like when I'm dealing, and mushrooms is a little more tricky. If you're studying mushrooms, you need to take a topside picture. You need to get the size of that thing. Most of your references is gonna be in centimeters, and then you need an underside picture because how the skirt is attached, how the gills are arranged, the underside will tell you way more than the top. And one thing with mushrooms, certain mushrooms show up at certain times of the year, so that helps. Knowing when you found what is good. So a notepad is a handy thing, which I seldom do. But knowing when this, plant or mushroom is, so that thing took off, didn't it? Knowing when it's, out is a good thing. Like oysters, I find them in the fall into the winter. Um, Chanterelles is early summer or either late summer. But all mushrooms are gonna need moist weather. Knowing a little about what plant you're looking for, knowing its habitat is a key thing. Knowing that I find this plant up on top of a hill is going to help you identify it, or did I find it down in a marsh bog where it's all wet all the time? That's going to help you with identifying it. But like I said, take pictures, cause we all got an iPhone in our pocket or an Android. I use iPhone, Apple products, and they've all now got great cameras. If you've bought a new phone in the last 3 to 4 years, it has a good enough camera on it that's the quality of a digital DSLR or whatever else camera. But use them pictures, take 2 or 3 pictures of it and get an idea of what you're looking at. And it's like a treasure hunt to me, y'all. Settle down, Brody. It's like a treasure hunt for me to go out and see what plants I can find. And I really don't need a lot of medicinal plants. I'm taking the greenbrier every day as a general tonic type, like some people do vitamins. And because I do have some stomach issues I inherited, and then some are induced from long-term alcohol use. So I tore the lining out of my stomach drinking alcohol, and it's probably healed up for the most part by now. It's not as bad as it was, but anytime I eat a lot of lettuce, a lot of jalapenos and pickled foods, high acid foods, spicy foods, it tears my stomach up. And anything with a lot of grease, and most people would be like, don't eat that. I'm not going to eat that no more. I'm going to eat what I want to eat, and I'll just face the consequences. It's the way I look at it. So, and I do love plants. I ain't been in the house today, JT, so I hadn't stepped on any Legos today. I did get one army man when I got on the porch, because Brody's idea of playing is dumping them toys bottom upwards and they go everywhere. But I hadn't been in the house much today. I worked on a little bit of pottery. I filmed just in time. I took him to the pond up there and we bass fished. I've been outside all day. We got a late start. I was up till after midnight editing the video that I put out today after my sister and them left, and just up late. It was after midnight when I went to bed, so I slept late. And then I felt horrible all day. I don't know. Tyler, I answered all that a while ago. When you asked earlier, I answered. We talked for about bowfin. You'll have to rewind now and go back and watch it, bud. I thought you was on here. We went all through bowfin fishing. The Native American Herbalist Bible. No, I have not got it yet. I I have got an extensive list of books. That Herbs for You is a great book. I've got to print off the other book. I hadn't print the second book off. I went and um, there was another book that I wanted. I can't remember now what it was that I was threatening trying to get a PDF to, but a lot of the books, some of these books you can get on thrift books and buy like these. I bought three big, nice cookbooks for wild game and one for fish. Three books for less than $20. You can do a good job buying whatever books you want if you don't mind a used book. Now, if you're collecting them, you probably ain't buying them on thrift books. But if for using a book, you can find a lot of good books on thrift books, and they're just used books. The one that I want that I do not have is the Chinese herbal medicine, the Materia Medica, and it's like a big thick textbook for herbal medicine. I want that. And I don't know if I've mentioned it on here, y'all. I am looking for a book, and I want one more relative to Mississippi or at least the Southeast that has all the information of plants and why they have the Latin name they have. In other words, take wild lettuce, for example. You've got Lactuca floridana, Lactuca canadensis, Lactuca whatever else. Seriola and Lanciata and I don't know what all. I wanted the book with the information that says, okay, what makes this a Lactuca floridana different from Lactuca canadensis? What's different about the two? In a book so that you scientifically know what you're looking at. And you're not getting information off of Google, because I'm going to tell y'all, I have discovered with my experience and things that I know that there's a lot of information on Google that is not accurate, especially with medicinal plants. I have seen contradicting information as much as I've studied medicinal plants just on Googling what is this good for. So you really can't run with that information. And a lot of it with identity, most people's getting a lot of their information from Google, and then they get on these Facebook groups and try to school somebody on their education, and they don't have no clue what they're talking about. All they know is what they read on Google. So if somebody knows about a book that I can look at, that I don't need all the medicinal properties and all the, I want to know the identification of this plant with a scientific name and tell me why it is this plant, why this species is different from this species in the same family. And if we can find that book, I want it, especially if it covers the medicinal plants. I'm not too much worried about the shrubs and the herb gardens. Mississippi State University has that information. I'm looking at the native wild plants is what I want it on. And I have not found one. Sandra, I thought I answered that. Yes, all of our pottery is microwave safe, oven safe. You can cook in the casserole dishes. You can put them in the oven. And in fact, Michelle cooked shepherd's pie one night this weekend. We cooked, she makes a ranch potatoes that's very good. It's cooked in the oven. She made that in one of our pottery dishes. We've cooked all kind of like Dorito casseroles in them. So you can take all of our pottery and put it in the microwave or the oven. It's fine. I would say this, don't pull something out that is cold or whatever and stick it into a preheated oven that's already like 500-600 degrees. You know, I mean, because temperature differences with any kind of clay and that is with most all potteries. I don't know of any that don't have a thing that says, hey, don't like shove them into a big especially a large piece. But now this, I'm bad to take coffee. Like if we have coffee left over in the morning in the pot, instead of me pouring it down the sink drain, I'll pour it in my cup, stick it in the microwave for about a minute and a half, and while I'm making the next pot of coffee. So Well, Ken, what I'm looking for is something to tell me the description with that plant. What makes it this identification? Like, okay, the leaves are arranged a little differently, or they're a little wider here, or they have this number of lobes on them, or whatever to make them different from this other species of lactuca. Because you got Lactuca canadensis, Lactuca floridana, Lactuca seriola. I want to know what's different about each one of them. How do I know? Okay, this is what makes this Lactuca seriola. And that's the information I'm looking for. And they should be. I mean, that information has got to be somewhere. I don't know where to purchase it at, but if somebody finds one of those old Chinese materia medicas, I want one of them. But now the ones I've saw is several $100s. Yeah, Diana, I'm careful about. I think we bake 350 most things, maybe 400 at the highest. I don't know what she actually bakes our pottery at. But now, if I'm really doing some serious cooking something, I'm going to use cast iron most of the time. And we've been experimenting with cooking out here. I am going to put a crane in this fire pit. Um, I wasn't going to put it until I get this somewhere where I can deal with it. See, like right now with a fire in it, there's a little smoke coming out. And I'm going to tell y'all, I think with this smoking, somebody asked a while ago, said Charlie did, figuring out what the draft issues are. I really think it has to do with the fact that this tin is not absolutely airtight around there. There's draft coming in sides, cracks, and crevices of this thing. So if you've got a stone fireplace that's mortared and sealed airtight, it's going to draft a lot better than this because and I'm sure tapering from the outside up out here would help. But if I was building the tubing frame from scratch, I would have designed it a little bit different. But that was already built, and I was just trying to make use of it. Um, at some point, when I get the funds to do this, I've got several projects that's going to happen this summer, or that I'm going to try to make happen. Probably once gardening is tapering off, which will be over in June. Um, Sometime into June, things will start tapering off. It'll be too hot to fish and all such as that. It'll be too hot to work on anything. But I've got a bathroom in here that I never built. My master bathroom has not been built. I've got a shower, walk-in shower I want to build, raised tub, and I want to wall it and put my sinks and stuff in there. So that's gonna happen. And then we want to floor this. Probably gonna put sand out here and get it level, and then we're gonna put those pavers down, those big walking like stepping stones we call them. I think is what we decided we wanted to do, other than instead of pouring a slab. Um, and then I want to do gravel all the way around the edges, at least where my cookers are, because of grease dripping and me spilling stuff. I don't want to be out here making a mess on the floor that I can't keep clean. So that's got to happen. And once all of that is done, I'm going to build a stone big fireplace. So, eventually that's what happens. So this thing is just temporary. Now, it may be here a year or two before I get the money up to do what I want to, but it is not my permanent idea of what's going to be here. But I enjoy it. It has worked good. So what I'm going to do temporarily for a crane, since I have already mentioned it, is I'm going to weld my crane to some hinges and get it set up and all like I want it and build it in shop, and then I can come over here and screw it to that metal tubing with some metal to metal screws. So we're starting to get these June bugs, these beetles flying around, and they're going to be a nightmare out here in the lights. I reckon it is time for them to take over. They're flying everywhere. They'll wind up in my coffee cup. So, what topic are we on to now? Tyler deleted his messages. He may have got mad at me. Betty, you should have stayed here and listened after you asked that question, because I did get to it. That's twice I've answered it. Anyway, yeah, the wind, George, is what's getting mine for the most part, I think, because right now there ain't no wind blowing and it's doing fairly decent. It is not doing perfect, but I can deal with it. My biggest problem wasn't that there's a little smoke coming out and going around somewhere. With just the fire pit out here, it was catching all the smoke that rose and rolling it up under here to the house. Well, all of my soffit is vented down through there, so it was going up into the attic and getting into the house. You could smell the smoke every time I built a fire out here, so that was the purpose of trying to get the smoke going to up through the roof. Otherwise, I really preferred the fire pit because of my tripod. I could cook over it with a cast iron. So now I can't cook in my cast iron over the fire. So we're going to remedy all that. We're going to get it fixed where we can. Happy Easter, Deborah. Well, Jason, apparently right where I'm at, I have Seriola, Floridana, Canadensis, and one other one I had, Virosa. Yeah, Larry, I've got that video. We ordered a water pump. It'll be here around Tuesday to put in there. I think that water pump was my biggest issue. We'll get it put in, and when I go to putting it back together, we'll check everything else out. But most everything looked good, and that was supposedly a new one. But I don't know if I don't know what happened. I hadn't run that boat no whole lot. But now, it may not take a whole lot to burn them things up. Somebody said you needed to change them every year regardless, and that probably, at $20, that probably ain't a bad idea. But when you take a boat fishing twice a year, you really shouldn't wear one out every year. You know what I mean? But Deborah, I love to forage. And it really ain't necessarily that I need the stuff to eat. I just like to go out and see what I can find and know that I have the ability to take from the land what I need. My biggest downfall with it is the fact that none of my family is like Michelle. She ain't gonna eat nothing I go pick out of the yard, like the lettuce. I picked all that stuff the other day. She wouldn't dare gonna touch it. And she'll eat deer meat, she'll eat fish, but she ain't eating a rabbit or a squirrel, and that kind of stuff puts a damper on me cooking as much of that kind of stuff as I would cook a whole lot more of it if everybody ate it. But if I'm the only one eating it, then we got to cook that and something else so. Anyway, y'all, I am going to start on Friday nights. Probably when we do a live while we're cooking some stuff. I'll be moving the camera around and sort of like Bruce Mitchell used to do. I guess he still does it on Facebook. He would be out there cooking and just talking to everybody while he was cooking. So I'm probably similarly gonna do somewhat of the same thing on Friday nights, because I'm really wanting to get back into my cooking, and I want to cook mostly wild game, but it will not just be all wild game. It's like that brisket last night. I didn't film all of that because I wanted to perfect it and see how I done. I hadn't cooked. That was like the second one I have ever cooked, and they're small briskets. So, yeah, Kim, if she gets hungry enough, she'll eat it. She'll eat it. Squirrel is definitely good eating. And I have got a couple of squirrels and 2 ducks in the freezer that I killed this past fall that we fixing to pull out and cook possibly this week or sometime because I don't need to let them get freezer burnt. Um, and I don't know how I like to put the ducks on the grill and cover them with barbecue sauce, and but I may put all of it together in a cast iron pot and cook them over the fire. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but we're gonna cook them sometime next week. So I don't know. Yeah, happy Easter, all of you. Several people said happy Easter. We are celebrating the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Well, Eric, from what I looked at on that impeller, I'm the way them fins is curled around. It's it's got to be part of the problem. After I got to looking at it and understood which way it was spinning, and looked at the new ones that was all straight finned, I knew that was what my problem was. So, and here's the deal: last year when I run it, it was peeing harder than it was this time. Um, Today or the other day when I hooked them earmuffs to it, it was just barely trickling out, and it was running hotter or pumping water harder than that last year. So I'm pretty sure it's just that little impeller, but we'll keep an eye on it and see. Japanese knotweed. I have heard you can eat that. Uh, I heard something about nutgrass. There's something about nutgrass that could be eat, but that's like kudzu. I mean, there's a lot about kudzu that can be eat. I have never eat much kudzu. I mean, I have nibbled on it, but now a lot of these things that are edible are not completely edible. In other words, like some of them need to be cooked, some of them need to be processed certain ways. So, oh, squirrel dumplings. Y'all, I don't know why I keep yawning. Ken, I'm hoping so. And I'm going to tell you my idea of the whole mess. We're going to see hard times. There's no doubt in my mind. The world's not going to Cadillac on like it is right now. And it's because it's Bible prophecy. The Bible talks about the end times and the tribulations and all that stuff. Uh, we could leave before all of that. We could be raptured out before all of it, but we could be raptured. We could live through every bit of it. We really don't know. There's a lot of people that believe it a couple different ways and claim they've got scripture to prove it, but there's scripture to prove. And I don't know off the top of my head all 3 points of leaving. You can leave post-trib, mid-trib, and pre-trib with scriptural. They scripture to back up every one of them. And there's some people that they only found the scripture for one of them, and the Bible says we leaving right here. And they're right. But it also has scripture over here that says we're leaving that, so, nobody really knows. So my deal is I'm going to be prepared to endure the whole thing and try to make it as best I can and try to feed my family to where I'm not put in a position that I have to take the mark of the beast to feed my family. Because that's going to be a hard decision to watch your kids starve to death because you can't buy nothing for them to eat. The other remedy for that is to be able to go gather your own food. But now they're going to make all that very hard to do. We're not going to just be running around shooting and hunting happy. People's going to be fighting over what they are to eat. It ain't going to be easy in the best case scenario. So, you prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and pray we leave before all that happens would be ideal. And, some of us will be fortunate enough to get killed or something happen to us and not have to endure all of it. So, um, but knowing stuff out here in the woods, eating the plants is going to be your most common thing unless something happens, some natural disaster or some man-made disaster to where the plants are killed and wiped out for whatever reason. But you know, and I don't know what we're going to get into. I mean, if it gets into nuclear war and we, you know, everything can be burned up, we might not have nothing to forage and live off. We don't know what's going to happen. There's 1,000 different scenarios that could happen with the end time, and any direction that you try to stand up and say, I think this is what's going to happen, you could be right, but then you could be wrong too. So I don't try to say what I think is going to happen. I just say I want to be prepared for the worst case scenario so that it ain't so hard, you know. Brian, no, there was an eighth of an inch gap on one side. You could tell where that fit, and one area of it there was an eighth of an inch gap between them fins and the pump. It was. You know, I don't know why I keep yawning. Cattail shoots are edible. The roots are medicinal. I have pulled them. They're good for like toothaches and stuff like that, I think. Yeah, decaf coffee is putting me to sleep, John. That may be exactly what it is. And I have not had any caffeine today at all. We got up this morning and I don't remember. I drank some coffee, but I think we had decaf left from last night, and I drank some of it, and that was the only thing. I don't know. I've felt bad this week, and not like felt sick, just drained, and I don't know. And I think it's like too much caffeine, and my body is not. I don't know. I'm trying to limit my caffeine intake. Is the blunt of it. So anyway, I don't want to be get addicted to something. JT talking about the generations. It's and see, I am classified into the millennials, but now my mentality is more of Gen X because I hung out with people 5 and 6 years older than me, and that's the only people I ever hung around with. I didn't stay in my generation watching TV, playing video games all the time. I played some video games, but that wasn't how in my career. I was outside riding bicycles, doing all the outdoor stuff, playing, and like the older generations did. So I really don't fit into the millennial mindset, and you know, they get a bad rap, but there's a lot of millennials that are really good people. The generation that is coming out of college and stuff and out of high school right now, I think is going to drift back to a different mindset than the ones that's recently come through. But what it is the technological advance. We've got so much technology now and information at our fingertips that we've not realized the importance of knowing stuff in our head. And people have not cared to know about history, not cared to know about plants, not cared to know about how to do things with their hands, because we're going to all use a computer to do everything. Well, y'all, everybody can't make a living with a computer. Somebody's got to build houses, pave roads, work on equipment, work on vehicles, or assemble I mean, we walked into a restaurant the other day and I didn't even know what the thing was. It's a kiosk. You go over there and you order your food on this little pad, and then you go over there and they hand it to you in a little bit. You know, I mean, it's the way of the world. It's the way things are going. It's where we're gonna wind up, and it's because they're eliminating workers because they can't afford to pay people $20 an hour to take orders at McDonald's. I mean, I understand. They can't do that and still pay for the hamburger. I mean, still make a hamburger where you can afford it. If you pay somebody $20 an hour to take hamburger orders all day, then it ain't gonna be long. Your hamburger's gonna be one meal is $20 to $25. Then, well, all of a sudden you've circled all the way back around to where that person can't make it on $20 an hour neither. And that's what happened, with a lot of things in society. You got a generation that all they done was play with computers, listen to music, uh, played video games, and didn't get out and learn how to do nothing outdoors. And all of a sudden, all that information is being lost. Well, you've also got a generation that's thinking that they're discovering it all for the first time. You take fishing, you take live scope. The days of the old guy fishing is over with. The guy that knew the weather patterns, that knew where the fish is going to be. Because now everybody's got this image and they can just look and see what's under the water and they just following fish around. Well, you could take somebody that knows electronics, knows how to play video games, can take live scope and go win fishing tournaments, crappie, bass, whatever. I'm not against somebody that can afford it, that wants it, having it for fishing, but you're robbing the information of the guy that knew how to read weather patterns, knew by the temperature where them fish was going to be, and learned to fish and all that stuff and knew it. So in 10 years, nobody will be able to know how to do all that. Nobody will know how to just go, well, why is the fish not biting today? Well, they right there, why ain't they? So, that's what's happened for the most part, for all of society, in my opinion. We've used iPads, phones. I mean, we've got all the technology at our fingertips to where now we don't know how to do nothing. Here's a good example. I used to know a whole bunch of phone numbers. I barely know my own. I have to look in the contacts to know what my wife's number is, and I call it regularly. But we hit send on a contact. Or actually, I go, hey, Siri, call so-and-so, and it does it. I don't know any phone numbers. I still memorize some of the old phone numbers I had when I was a kid, but I don't know any new phone numbers. So, I mean, that is a perfect example of how everything is working. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a society at some point that if nobody's doing the physical stuff out here, it's going to just crumble at some point. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off on no big whole long ramble on all that stuff. I'm reading back through some of this. VA Woodsman, I think I have endured enough coffee that it's started affecting my mood and I don't know, I just feel bad. Yeah, Larry, when you pay $4 for a hot dog, we in high cotton now, ain't we? You go buy a packet of weenies and roll them some bread up and make a fortune there in a little while. Yeah, Dave, I've been in an attic a time or two in the summer, and that ain't nowhere I want to be. Yeah, Ken, the barbecuing like the pit boss. My daddy's got a pit boss over there. You just set what temperature you want on that thing, man, and you put meat in it and walk off and forget about it. You ain't got to do nothing. You just season it good and stick it in there and leave, and it's going to stay right there. This thing over here, I had to set right here yesterday and put wood on it. I went over there one time, it done got up to about 350. I was trying to keep it around 250. I got it back down and had to play with the door to get the air drafting right. And yeah, it's an art that eventually will be lost to a lot of people. I mean, there'll be a lot of people that keep it. You take right now, you got people that are trying to diligently preserve the art of building traditional bows. A lot of the old flint knapping and all these skills becoming popular to learn all those skill sets. And I applaud all those people for doing that. Primitive fire making, a lot of this stuff, because do I ever really need to make primitive fire? No. I always got a big lighter or a ferrocerium rod, and I can make fire in no time, just about with the rain coming down. But what baffles my mind is there's a lot of people today that can't build a fire at all. I mean, without a can of gas, they really can't make a fire. They don't know no doodlem about what they doing, and that's what's scary. And cash is a thing of the past, y'all. There's so many places that they don't even accept cash, and I mean, we ain't far from it being obsolete. Kim, we could sit in our church and whoever's got the app with the password to it in our church can sit in the church and turn the temperature of the thermostat to every central unit in it up or down and set them to what temperature they want with a phone. Yeah, Sandy, there is no human intelligence. No, I tell you what's completely obsolete, and that's common sense for the most part. And I tell you the one that baffles me the most, and I see it on Instagram constantly, is these chemtrails. And the sad reality is weather modification is a real thing. They are spraying stuff in the clouds. They are seeding weather systems. They are changing the weather patterns. It is real. But them streaks you see across the sky ain't got nothing to do with it. And I'm like, common sense. Commercial airlines is not doing the government's job for them for free. And it's not coming out of the engine. That stuff has to be sprayed up there. Well, they not spraying it for 250 miles straight. And I mean, I say 250, probably 2,500 miles, because it goes from horizon to horizon. Well, common sense eliminates that they not seeding clouds on a clear blue sky day, and it's gonna rain 3 or 4 days later. They wait till it starts getting ready to rain, and then they seed them clouds to make them grow and swell. But common sense is not even a close factor to a lot of these people. They just seen something on the internet, and oh yeah, I like that, and I run with it. And weather modification is real. They have altered our weather patterns. They have affected the growing seasons, and they have affected and really they are the cause of what we know as climate change. It is not from vehicles that we are driving up and down the road. It is from them seeding clouds and altering the weather patterns up there. So, but hey, common sense ain't gonna help most of them figure all this out, because they got their head in this iPad or in this phone, and all their information is coming from Facebook. And I have learned some things on Facebook. I have learned some things on YouTube. but I've got enough common sense to mix with it that sometimes I see stuff on there and I'm like, no, that ain't, you know. I have a rule. If I am looking to learn something from YouTube, like, okay, take something I know nothing about and I want to learn how to do it, YouTube is my go-to place. Watch somebody do a video on it. But I don't watch just one video and go, okay, that's how you do it. Now I know how to do this. I watch at least 5 to 10 videos, different people doing it different ways. And in that, you'll find the common factors, I call them. The things that all of them did the same. Well, you'll figure out, well, this is necessary, this is necessary. Well, if they something that all of them did different and they got a good results, well, then you know, well, this don't even matter. This is just personal preference. So you can figure out things by watching multitude of videos. So, you know, that's why I say the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. Because a lot of times you're going to figure out the way you like to do it. I mean, if there's a way you prefer to do something, if it works, then good, do it that way. That's what you like. That's the way you need to do this, you know. But if you try it and it don't work, well, then you know, well, guess what? My way don't work. I need to learn something here. So that's why I say do it the way you want to, and you'll find out if your way works or not. Whether it's right or wrong, do it your way and get that out of the way. You know what I mean? You find out if you. But anyway. Well, George Lindsay, I don't think cash will come back. People will go back to the barter system. Like Jerry Clower talked about swapping work. Back in the old days, you know, if I could do something, I would go help these guys do something over here, or I'd do something for them, and then they would come do something for me, or, you know, I'd go do some work for them for a good that they had. There's going to be a lot of this horse trading go back into place. Um, Money, I don't think is, and I'm going to tell you what the problem is with money right now. A dollar that you spend is taxed to the point that there ain't no dollar left by the time it's changed hands 4 or 5 times. When you take somebody that works all day and works a good job and makes good money, and they paid taxes in all year, and then they have to pay $10,000 worth of taxes in at the end of the year too, y'all, that ain't right. I don't care which way you look at it. If they paid taxes on their money they made all year, it was deducted from their account, they shouldn't have to pay anything at the end. They shouldn't even have to file. It should be a done deal at the end of the year. And we don't. That's not the way it is. The government, they know who's got some money and they want some more of it. And we are funding a government. I mean, we paying taxes on everything. Every time you buy a good, you pay taxes on it. If you turn around and sell it, you pay taxes on it. You pay taxes on land that you already own. You pay taxes on, you pay taxes on the road. You pay taxes on it when you buy a tag. You pay taxes on it, you know, when you buy a license. Everything that you do. So it's costing us to live for stuff. We paying for the government for stuff that ought to be just ours, you know.
He wanted to check out his eggs.
Oh Lord, Brody's got eggs, y'all.
He's been dying eggs. We've been having lots of fun.
Uh-oh.
Come show him your eggs.
Brody. What are you doing over there? He's looking for frogs. I know where there's a frog at.
Some of them might not have cracks in them.
We got a pile of eggs. I'm gathering eggs going and coming. I don't know how many cartons of eggs are stacked up on the counter in there right now.
A bunch. He'd go to put them in that dye, and I'd say ease them down in there, and he just flop.
What is all over my arm? I think a little boy come over here and rubbed cupcake on me earlier. Brother, there's a green frog up there on that wall over there. He had a frog, y'all, in his cage that Miss Sue sent him last year. And I don't know, did you turn that frog loose or where's it at?
I don't know.
Look, can I make a request? I really need a jug of tea about yeehaw.
Okay, and then we're riding to Mama.
I am thirsty. Brody, leave the frog alone. I always found 2 frogs over there. Leave them alone. Don't kill them. They eating bugs, son. They eating bugs. So anyway, y'all, I done got off on some ranting and raving about stuff. I get worked up about our government and the taxes and all that. What?
The other frog I put in the cage, I left the door open to it.
In the house?
No, out there on the porch.
Oh, it's on the front porch. Okay.
So it,
You cold? You better put some more blocks in there.
oh yeah, pitchy crabs, pitchy crabs.
Oh, Lord.
And then I let some air in my frog's cage so it won't die.
No, Alicia, he's right him. By the time you thought he was gone, there he showed up. You ain't getting them all the way in there, son. That's enough. Oh, I'm about to thirst to death. Thank you so much.
There's
Mama, I'm
Sloppy
thirsty.
Joe's in there too. Come on.
I'm thirsty. I want tea.
Well, come on, we're just gonna dance. Come on.
Tea!
Sloppy Joe's. Well, that's why the barter system is going to eliminate cash. They really not going to like that.
It's gonna take my father's cup.
If they see a transaction with
Mom,
It's gonna take my father's cup.
with cash,
Mom.
they can kind of tax that.
Mama, I
you
want
know.
tea.
But if you're just trading work and trading goods and they can't tax it, that they don't like that at all. I'm gonna have to straighten this mess he's just made out. Don't put no more, cause you're not getting them in there. You're gonna be burnt my rug up.
Dad,
What?
I want tea.
Well, go in there and tell Mama, son. I don't have it. Mama brought me tea. I didn't take her tea.
Mom,
Lord help y'all. What we gonna do with that boy? Yeah, he ain't gonna slow down. Dinah, we've got 3 dogs. We've got Roscoe, we've got Lucky, the little Chihuahua, and we got Roxanne. Now, Roxanne is on a chain right now. I have got to go turn her loose. Unless Michelle has turned her loose. She may be already loose. I think she's probably down there in the wood. Roxanne! Roxy! She may still be. I had to chain her up because I went bass fishing over at the pond. And she'll follow that buggy everywhere it goes. So I couldn't take her over there. And hey, did you go turn Roxanne loose? Tell Mama Roxanne's on the chain.
Mama, what's saying he's off the chain? He can go there.
And Brody's gonna work that door religiously. Brody, shut the door, son. He's standing over there hollering what? He keeps something going on. He keeps my mind dissipated is what he does. Because he's steadily like doing something and I can't focus. And like when he's monkeying around, it's like I'm like, I guess I'm a little nervous. Like old Carl said, he said he didn't drink coffee. He said it makes me nervous when I drink it. Hey, get in the house. You can't be still out here. You wound up tighter than an 8-day clock. You like a last string on a fiddle. Oh, Lord. I got a bunch of big long planks that we've got to burn at some point. My daddy, if I'm sitting here not doing nothing but watching the fire, I'd have a rolling fire going, but I can't. Oh, I can't do this and watch it too. Brody, you got ants in your pants? Huh? You got ants in your pants? What are you doing? He don't never know what he's doing. I can't remember, John, just how the rat killing story goes.
You can hold that.
No, I can't. I want it on that stump over there.
I'm using it.
But no, that's why I want it on there. I want you to stay off that stump so you fall on that fish cooker over there. Why don't you go on in the house? I thought y'all was going to Nana's. You never brought me a cupcake. That'll get him in trouble when he goes in there asking for a cupcake and his mama thinks he's wanting it. Or he'll drag your plate off in the floor and he'll come back with one in each hand, him one and him another, and I probably won't get one. So anyway, all right, them June bugs, they done took over my back porch, y'all. We're gonna wind up having to screen the thing in, ain't we? Doggone it. I bet he done licked it when he gets out here. He's coming with one. Did you lick my cupcake? Go get me another. I don't want one you've slobbered on. Go get another one.
It's too late.
Go get another one.
It's too late.
I knew he was going to do it. He stuck his tongue right off in the middle of it. Take it back in there.
It's too late.
He's fixing to get in trouble right here on camera in front of all y'all. Y'all going to get to see him get us. I do not want that. You've done licked it.
Oh.
That was the easy way for him to get another one.
Yeah.
I done told him he couldn't have any more.
Well, he figured that out. He licked it. There's Roxanne. You give her your cupcake because you can't have another one. You give it to Roxanne.
He don't want to go with Big Mama's.
He is, though.
Come on.
I'm cold.
You ain't cold.
Uh-huh.
Y'all, he's like an old person. He sits in front of the heater. When that in there in the laundry, in the bedroom, we got a little electric heater we turn on at night if it's cool. He'll get his blanket and be right up under it near about it. Alicia. Brody, did you tell Alicia we couldn't go to Bass Pro Shop because there's naked men in the tank?
We can't go to the Bass Pro Shop because there is naked men.
I was, or wasn't I?
Mm-hmm. Why was that?
Y'all, I don't know where it happened at. It's been a while back. What's back?
Why don't we go to that restaurant?
One of the Bass Pro Shops, there was a drunk man run over something in the parking lot. They tried to arrest him in the parking lot or something. And he run up in the store in Bass Pro Shops naked and jumped over in the tank where the fish are. And like, it's video of him. I don't know if they took it down, if it's still on the internet. There's video of him swimming around in the fish tank and they trying to arrest him. So I made a joke. Brody was wanting to go to Bass Pro Shop. And I said, we can't go to Bass Pro Shop because he was wanting to see the fish swimming in the tank. And my first thought, well, we can't. I said, a lot of big naked men swimming in there. Well, he went and told everybody. How many of y'all seen that reel or video, whatever it is, of the guy that jumped over into I want to think it was in Alabama, but somebody said it may have been in Georgia or somewhere. I don't know where it happened at. He is wound up. And the last thing he needed was icing off the top of that cupcake. I'm going to wind up a big June bug down in my sweet tea. Well, Sam, I guess he was in there with them bass and whatnot. I don't think they catfish and bass and stuff in most of them. Oh, Yeah, John, I know which one you're talking about now. John wanted to hear about the rat killing, and y'all, we finna have to have a rat killing around here. I got a kid chicken pen down there. We can go down there with a light and camera and look around in there. And they some of the biggest, most hugest rats you ever saw down there running around that chicken pen. The dogs like to get after them. Look at that June bug right there. That's a big one there. What we had to do is get us a boat paddle and whop them. Brody liked to caught that.
I got a boat paddle.
Where?
I'll go get it.
That was a mistake, wasn't it? Is it dark around there?
Do you have a flashlight?
I ain't got no flashlight. Where's your flashlight?
Oh, I know.
He cut out. But anyway, said, Uncle Verson, or no, said Jerry and his brother Sonny said they got up in the corn crib one afternoon, said they was a killing rats, and he said, man, he said they was a moving that corn around, and they done hemmed them all up in the corner, and said they had killed some rats, said they was jobbing them with hay forks, and said he done stomped one over here, and said all of a sudden, said my brother Sonny caught one of the hugest rats I ever saw in my life, and said he killed it and grabbed it up in the throat, and said it was such a big rat, said he wanted to show it to mama. And said my brother Sonny took off running to the house with that rat and walked up in the house, and said he held that rat out by the throat, and said its tail hung way down yonder. And he said, Mama, look here, what a rat. He said, we done stomped him, and said I done hit him over the head with a ear of corn, and said I stabbed him with a hay fork. Said he run around, and said then I hit him with a stick of stove wood. And he said, and all of a sudden, said my brother Sonny turned around and saw the preacher sitting over there in the corner. Said he didn't know the preacher had come to visit Mama. And he said my brother Sonny armed that rat up and started stroking it and petting it, and he said, and then the Lord called the poor thing home. Yeah, y'all, Sam A's video on there of this fella. He gets off in that tank. When he tries to climb out of it, though, he slides down and, I mean, face plants out there in the floor, and then they tackled him. But there's video of him in the fish tank swimming with the fish at Bass Pro Shop. It's a good chance I wouldn't have been there, because I'd have went and got me one of them pole catfishing rigs with a couple of good treble hooks on something. I'd have hung in there. I'd have got him out of there. When I got that pole hung in him and doubled up on one of them big old poles and commenced to reeling on it, he'd have been glad to have come on out of that tank. What, Roscoe? What you wantin', son? What wantest thou you? You ain't had no petting? Needing some attention there, is you? Are you good for anything? Would you go get a ball if I was to throw it? You got a ball around here handy somewhere? I might know where a ball is. Yep, he's gone. You coming back with it? You gonna give it to me, or you gonna throw it? He'll go get it by every time you throw it, but now if Brody throws it, he won't hardly. Oh, Lord, Lord. Yeah, Sam, he'd have come out of that. He'd have been on that ground flopping like a crappie on the bank when I got through with him. You gonna burn that thing up over yonder? Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Ball. Hand me the ball. He ain't gonna go pick it up. He's smelling Brody's cupcake. He set down right there. I don't know where they went. They may have cut out. Well, y'all. And don't mess with the boy's cupcake. I don't know, probably be a good idea if you eat it, but I'd like to get that paper part off of it for you. Brody don't need near another. Brody don't need near another cupcake. Yeah, yeah. Here, here. Stand up. Was that good? He swallowed it whole. He don't never know what he like old big old dog Brummy was with that bowl of boiled okra. Said he sucked it. Said it went out so fast he thought the other dog got it and jumped on him. Well, y'all, what you want to talk about now? We got a few more minutes. Somebody change the subject. Listening for some turkeys. I just don't have nowhere to turkey hunt. I hadn't unthawed my turkey calls out in about 2 years. The last time I turkey hunted, them old boys messed us up there, and I got so mad. I just said, I ain't even gonna fool with it. I walked off. I ain't fighting nobody over no turkey. Cause about the only thing fit to eat off of them is to make turkey nuggets and fry them, and they good. But as far as turkey in general, I'm not crazy about turkey. I mean, it's okay, but I'm not big on turkey. Philip, no, I don't have no whole lot of snakes here in the yard. The way you keep snakes out of your yard is keep everything mowed and somewhat clean. If you let your yard grow up or there's not very much room between you and the woods, like if the woods was right there in the edge of the yard, you would have snake problems. Um, but here I keep everything mowed for the most part, and that is what eliminates a lot of that. I see a lot of these people that love plants as much as I love plants, and they want to let their yard grow up in native flowers, and all that is laziness that they don't want to mow their grass, and they're using that for an excuse. But they claim, oh, it's habitat for this. It's habitat for a bunch of snakes and rats to get up in your house, and they don't want to tell you about all that. Turkey hunting is fun. I'm not gonna knock turkey hunting. The times I have done it, it is exciting. But when you've got to compete with other people over turkeys, or either there's not a lot of turkeys to hunt, I don't have a good place to turkey hunt. I had a fella was letting me hunt one field that he had, and he had some turkeys there. So I wound up calling and killing a turkey there, and then once I killed a turkey, of course there was several more. Oh, you killed that there? Well, then everybody else wanted to hunt it. Well, then he had family and people that was more priority than I was. He had to let them hunt it. So, if you're successful at something, the worst thing you can do is put it on Facebook or let anybody know that you were successful there. I mean, if you want to keep that spot to yourself, the only way to do that is to just keep your mouth shut and lie and tell them, hey, I ain't killed nothing. But I can't do that either. Um, but with nowhere to hunt, I put my turkey calls, my mouth calls are in a froze bag of water. I took a Ziploc bag and put all the turkey calls in there and filled it about half full of water and put it in the freezer and froze it, and that'll keep your turkey calls from drying out. I hadn't killed no whole lot of snakes around here. And usually, if I encounter them down in the swamp, I don't try to kill them unless they're like if they're right where I'm trying to fish, then I'm gonna kill him if he's venomous. We call it poisonous, and usually I'll say a poisonous snake just because I know there's some people that twist off about it. I know they're venomous, but if there's a poisonous snake right there, I'm gonna about kill him if I'm fishing right there. Now, if he's off over yonder minding his own business, he can do what he wants to. I don't feel the need to go around seeing what all I can kill anymore. I used to be my favorite thing was to ride up when Daddy was driving the boat, and I was a young boy, a little bigger than Brody. I'd sit there with that 22 pistol and shoot snakes off the log while we was going up the river, and I could hit them while we was going usually. Oh. Well, there it goes. Well, sir. It is delayed. All right. I don't know that we have small weasels or hermits here. I don't know much about them. Keeping it natural this year, all natural. Brody put some stickers on some, but now the good thing, y'all, about these eggs is I'll eat them boiled eggs. I need to pickle a bunch of eggs. Y'all, let me tell y'all, I was gonna pickle some eggs a couple years ago, and I pickled them. I got this big glass gallon jar. I pickled them and put them in there. And it was a couple of months later, Michelle got talking about something smelling. So what is that smell? I don't know. We looked in the refrigerator. We looked on the couch. We thought Brody has stuck some food somewhere and it's rotted. We never did find it. One day I was in the pantry and I thought about my pickled eggs, and I looked down at that jar and it had got something shoved in front of it. And that water in there was just as blue and purple as you ever seen in your life. Son, I did like Jerry Cloud with a boiled okra on that deal there too. I walked real careful with that jar way off down yonder in the woods to dump it out. And you talk about stunk. Oh Lord. I don't know what I did with them eggs. I don't know what I done wrong. I'm gonna redo though a recipe on some pickled eggs. And we've got probably, I know there was 6 or 8 cartons of eggs, and one of them was an 18-pack me and Brody filled up. And then I come in today that I got out of just one pen, and the big pen, obviously, I had like 7 or 8 eggs I come in with. And I didn't pick up every egg out through there. I don't know what we're going to do with all of them. I usually wind up letting them run in that refrigerator and then throwing them out. It's usually kind of the way this plays out. I tried selling some and then I tried giving some away, but if you give them to people, you got to wash them. Well, then they got to refrigerate them. We like to leave them sitting out and not washed, and then we just wash them before we start to use them. Because occasionally, if rainy, sloppy weather like we having, some of them is nasty. Now, all of them I picked up today, spotless. They wasn't a speck on not near one of them. But every now and then, you got a carton full of muddy-looking eggs because mud all in there. Well, if you wash all them, once you wash them, they got to go in the refrigerator because you wash whatever off of them and they'll run. So, yeah, Michigan, I don't know. I didn't put enough vinegar. I misread or misdone something or either forgot to add. So I could have forgot to put vinegar and just put them in water. I don't know what I done. But it most definitely was terrible. And I've been thinking about doing the lime thing. You seen everybody where they storing like a big water of lime water or whatever of jugs. I guess is that what the water glass some is? I don't know. I have thought about it. I have never tried to do that. And when that got popular about last year or year before, I got tagged in that video or something. So I don't know how many times I got the link sent to me, and I never done it. It would be a good thing to do. Alicia, you need to do a video on that. And y'all can go watch Heart of Pine Homestead, and Alicia can do a video on doing them water glass and them eggs. How about that? Come on. Y'all, Alicia and Dusty is Michelle's brother. Alicia is his wife. They are family, so they've got a YouTube channel starting out. And I know some of y'all have started watching them, but if you didn't know about them, she does some homesteading. Jimmy, I love them country eggs too. But now I'm gonna tell you what else I like, Jimmy, and we got to get together and go grinnell fishing. So let me ask you, where do we need to go tackle some grinnell? Because most likely Monday is gonna be a good fishing day. And I'm going fishing somewhere Monday. And the weather's going to be right. It's going to get up to about 80 degrees. I've thought about going to Ross Barnett and going after some of them show enough slab crappies. But you know, I had a half a mind to just go bass fishing. I about got frustrated with the crappie. Because every lake I have been to, they hadn't acted right. And I'm going to have to take the War Eagle boat. I've thought about just going to Tom Bigby and play. We wanted to take the camper up there. I'm ready to start catfishing. I'll be honest with you, I done got burnt out on chasing crappie. I love to catch them when they biting. But I really want to go catch some grinnell. And I've heard in the upper end of Ross Barnett Reservoir, they have got some big grinnell. You know, El Mucho Grandes. And I want to hang off into one of them. I want to feel him on that old antique Abu Garcia reel, pulling on that thing, and me trying to get him cranked in. Oh, I can feel it now. I'll have to go check some trees. I don't think the top of trees here have even put out. I looked at some here not long ago, which it wasn't really time. Tommy, thank you. Thank you. We're going to improve this contraption here before it's all said and done, but we're going to get a crane in there where we can do some cooking over it, is what we're going to do. Where are you at, Jason? Are you right around here? Because we'll go. I usually go to Pickinsville because I can fish there with a Mississippi license, but when I get where I can afford it, I'm going to buy me an Alabama license this year. I wanted to go down and fish south, but the guys down that way that I had talked to, I ain't heard nothing out of in a while, so I don't know what happened there. I may need to message them and check on them. Not that I want to go fishing, when I don't see people for a while, I get to wondering what in the world happened to them, you know. Because I don't need nobody to go fishing. I can go fishing right by my lonesome. Well, Dave, the problem with going right now to catch grinnell is it's a little bit earlier and the swamp is like full of water. The only place that I know of I might could catch grinnell is in backwater off on one of them big reservoirs. So I don't really know where to go to target grinnell right now. Now, once the water drops on down, once it gets down into 11 foot or more or less at Burnside on the Pearl River, if you pull up your river level app and you look at Burnside on the Pearl River, if it's below 11 foot, it's inside the bank, so you can kind of find these fish. But the problem is getting a buggy down in there through the low water crossings to get to where fish are, and the water will be so swift you can't hardly fish. But that's the problem. I hadn't, Jimmy. I have never fished Cold Bluff. We put some lines out there one time when I was, Lord, this has been 15 years ago, and we really didn't fish. We just went down there and put out some lines, and we caught a few catfish, caught a couple of big gar there. I do want to catch some gar. Well, good deal, Jason. We probably week after next, sometime during the week, I'm taking my camper to Pickinsville. Cause me and Brody want to chase jugs. I have the big lines. I don't put out them big lines unless I've got somebody in the boat with me to help me run them, because they a lot of work, and I like to fish them, and they require a lot of bait. And the last time I went, I couldn't even find no shad hardly. We caught a few pockets of shad here and yonder, but down at the lower head, or behind the lock down there at the Tom Bevel Lock and Dam, usually right on the back side of that lock against the wall, you can just load up on shad. Well, we couldn't get any. So, Brian Pruitt is picture this. Yeah, Larry, I'm ready to catch some grinnell now. Grinnell is the thing that I like the most. It's my favorite thing to cook and eat, and obviously fried. But now y'all see me do some videos baking them and other stuff. Cooked them on the Blackstone. We may do some other stuff with them this year. But I'm ready to go after some big fish. I've enjoyed crappie fishing, especially, and I can catch them in these ponds and stuff easy. In the fall, I can wear about in the swamp down there all I want. I just hadn't mastered the lakes yet. And when I go to Tom Bigby, I will be crappie fishing some during the day. I mean, I'm going to try to catch some crappie, but my main thing will be I'm on catfish. And I have yet to catch any big catfish on a pole. So I want to take a rod and reel and hang off into some big catfish. So that and some gar and all that stuff. Marie, that's that dog down there. That's probably Roscoe barking. I don't know what he's after. We got the red buds and all that blooming here. Yeah, Michigan Prepper, if I had a way to haul them things, I could go up to Tennessee. Larry Reese told me to come up there to Oklahoma, and he'd give me all the rocks I could haul off. The problem is having a way to haul them that far to get them back down in here to Mississippi. You might as well off to just buy them from somebody. Well, Jason, you need to get me get on my Facebook and message me. Let me know who you are. I mean, apparently, I hope your name must be probably the same. Sometimes though they not. You never know people. They fly under incognito. But anyway, get up with me on Facebook where I can message you. I'll let you know what day we're planning on going up there. We're not going this coming week because it's gonna get cool. So sometime week after next, like middle of the week, I like to go anywhere from Monday to Thursday. because I usually like to stay off of lakes and rivers on the weekends. It gets so full of people. And if I'm fishing and serious about fishing, I like to be there when there ain't no whole lot of other people there meddling with my stuff. And I want to take these Gatorade bottles and put glow sticks in them and let Brody get the fun out of chasing them jugs around out there on the water. So, that's we had as much fun today over at the pond bass fishing, and we was catching little old bitty bass. But it ain't really about trophy fishing to me. It's the enjoyment of fishing and being on the water. And then me, I want to do some good recipes, cooking some fish. So I'm gonna try some stuff this year. I've been reading a cooking recipe book on fish. I ain't never tried. I've never done fish soup. We're gonna try fish soup at some point. Well, Jimmy, as soon as this water in this swamp gets down, we can go. But now, if you think we can go have some luck Monday down further south down there, now what we do, we'll stick a crappie pole in the boat with us just in case, and we'll stick a grinnell pole on the other side, and we'll go down there, and we'll put that War Eagle in at Cold Bluff, or we'll put it in at we can put it in at what's his name? Uh, I can't even think of Tommy's Trading Post, and go up it from there and fish the upper parts of the lake and them shallows on them lakes. That War Eagle, if you get on them stump fields out there, it ain't gonna hurt that boat. And we'll go after them grinnell down there if they'll bite. If you think them grinnell will bite down there, I'm game for going after them Monday. And we'll make a video out of it. That sounds like a plan to me. Email Jason is justinpeden@gmail.com. Mississippi toes, I have been barefooted, y'all, all day long up and down the pond levee. It has felt so good to throw them shoes down and not have to look for them every time I get ready to go out the door. I'll be barefooted, y'all. I like some being barefooted in Mississippi. I had to peel them. What I was doing is I was shortening my grips. Them toenails, you get them in there when you get really took off in that dirt, they'll sling them rooster tails up behind you. Ken Beverly, you can fish Tombigbee River with a Mississippi license from the Tom Bevel Lock and Dam up, which is in the Alabama side. You're over in Alabama at Pickinsville, but you're not 3 miles, something like that. So you can fish from the lock up, and I don't know how far up. Where it runs up around Pickwick, somewhere up there. I don't know exactly where it swaps back over up that way. I have never fished up there, but I do know you can fish with a Mississippi license from Tom Bevel Lock and Down back up. They down there chasing them opossums. Well, Cindy, I am looking at smoking some fish. I have been doing a little bit of research on it, so I've got several recipe books, and that is one of the things I want to do a lot of like catching cooks, and I want to do where I put the chuck box in the back of the buggy and go back down there and do some videos catching a fish and cooking it right there in the on the bank. We didn't get to do much of that last year. I got that cooker late in the year, and I had all of this going on. Not to mention I had a buggy that was towed. My buggy, the last time I went really grinnell fishing last year, I took JR and Nikki, and we had great success, but my buggy, y'all, was about to fall apart down there. I'm telling you, you can ask them. They'll tell you it's rattling and making make you nervous. Jason, that is Peden. P as in Paul or power line or or pneumonia. That's a good one right there. There you go. Alicia fixed you up. I guess I could do this right here. Let me just, well, it ain't gonna let me. Well, dear Lord. I'm trying, there it is. I'm trying to type, y'all. Hey, I got a chat in there on y'all. Did you get that? Now you can just copy and paste if it'll allow you to do such as that in there. St. Jude's Children Cancer Research Hospital. Yeah, I used to run through that gravel pretty good, but it hurts my feet. But now by the end of summer, there'll be like a layer of leather right under there. You'll be good to go. They'll toughen up. It's just a little tender the first week or two. But now I tell you, we got a yard full of them stickers, and I should have sprayed them every year. I think, man, why didn't I spray these things? Really, the ideal thing is to put enough fertilizer out that the grass chokes them out. But they beat the grass up every year, and you can spray it with 2,4-D and get rid of a lot of them, and you can spray it with Image and get rid of a lot of them. But I failed to ever make that happen. My yard's so big and it's so much to spray. I mean, you'd be fighting them every year, and I just got where I quit worrying about it. Yeah, I thought about it, and I have got clover everywhere. And I've even got that. I have filmed a couple of times down there around my garlic. I have left it. Clover will actually put nitrogen into your plants. Like when you let that clover bloom out, you pull the roots up on that big clover that's growing in my bed down there, and it'll have little white specks on the roots all around there. And they tell me that's the nitrogen that, is like fertilizer. So you leave it in there and let it rot in there, and it'll, then you mow it down. If you pull it up, roots and all, you pull the nitrogen out. So you have to cut the plant off and then let the roots re-rot back in the ground. Yeah, we don't have a lot of cucumberrs, and our cucumberrs is probably not the same as what you're having as cucumberrs. Ours is a little small thing about the size of the end of your pinky, and it looks like Velcro. And you talking about get stuck to your breeches and stuck in your shoelaces and all such as that. Well, Chris, I've got a whole field out here that I'm growing of wheat as a cover crop where my peas are going to grow. But now I'm growing it for the purpose of harvesting the wheat straw to put around tomato plants. I don't know exactly how I'm letting it get pretty tall, and it's green. It had plenty of fertilizer, I reckon. Yeah, them sweet gum balls is fun too, Dave. I've got them. They good for a lawnmower. It's like you play golf, with them. I used to have an old golf club that I walked around out there every now and then just for fun and whacked them things off out of the yard, off out into the edge of the woods. Oh Lord, them beggar lice is bad now. When you find you a bush full of them beggar lice, they'll hang to a pair of good blue jeans. I mean, they'll hang to it good. And you just about got to take a knife, a long bladed knife, and just kind of shave them off like you filleting a crappie to get them things off there. Because if you pick them off one at a time, you'll be there a little while. Them beggar lice is bad. But the beggar lice now is a little flat-seeded thing. It's real small. They ain't no bigger than, I don't know. The kookaburra is like the last joint. They like about a 3/4 of an inch long, and shaped like a bean or something, and looks like the Velcro all the way around it. Uh, but the beggar lice, it's just a little flat seed, and it'll just stick to everything. Porcupine eggs, there you go. Well, Tennessee Smokey, we still here. We've been waiting on you. Good to see you tonight. With a lint roller. I can see where that would be I'm going to throw a couple of these boards on this fire. I'm trying to burn all this mess up. Just so y'all know, I got another one of these tubs slammed full over there. And that's why I was trying to get Brody to somewhat put some on him. Try to burn some of that junk up. While I got some flame still going. That'll flame up there. Give me something there to warm me as it cools off out here some. Well, Smokey, did you catch any trout? I'm going to sneak off up there on the Cumberland River. Well, I'm going to wait till I find out my buddy Don Lanier's up there, and I'm just going to sneak up there with him and catch me some of them. No, he has invited me to go. Last year I could never make it happen. Spanish needles. I think we do. I can't remember now exactly what that plant is. But I have heard of it. Lisa, you must have really got off in them beggar lice now. She just throwed them away, but I can't much say I blame her. Just chunk them. Stick tights. Be on the Green River. All right, Jason, I will. I'll check it here. I'm slow on some of my messages and emails and stuff. Because I get emails, I get Instagram messages, and the Instagram has like 3 or 4 different places, and like you got to check through to check all your messages instead of all of them just being in one spot. They got, like priority and general and hidden and secret and I don't know what all. I guess so if your girlfriend's message on one of them, you can put her over in one of them other categories. And then you get emails, and then I got 2 Facebook accounts, and then you got notifications on here. And by the time I get halfway through checking them, I done forgot what I checked and didn't check. Some of them it'll be 2 or 3 days before I get to them. Oh, Lord. But anyway, we'll get it all worked out. What is autumn olive, Sam? I've never heard of autumn olive started here. You cannot kill that stuff. New one on me. Long black seed with 2 prongs. We've got a plant down here called the Spanish. It flowers. Got a yellow flower. Does it get like real tall, the plant? I hadn't seen these seeds off of them, but they grow along my yard back there because they resembled mugwort, and I was hunting mugwort, and I never found mugwort, and I was doing picture this on them, and it said Spanish needles. That's where I've heard of it. But now I don't remember seeing this seed you speak of. I may have and not realized it. Dave, we don't really have a fishing season here either in Mississippi that I'm aware of. Now there is times that you do it just because that's when you can get to them or catch them, like the grinnell. We don't have a season on anything, but there's just times that you can't hardly catch one, and here it's mostly due to the water being out of whack. But anyway, it's a root growing shrub, looks like Lespedeza, but much woodier. I don't know what that is either. Grows spines like a Bradford pear. Okay, so Sam, we've got what's called a wild pear. It looks just like a Bradford pear, but it's got big long spikes on it, blooms white. Yeah, and I had 3 of them planted over here in the yard for some ungodly reason. I think I was stupid and dug them up thinking they was plum bushes at some point, and realized that they was those what we call a wild pear. And I cut them suckers down last year because I was having a mower around them. So it's an autumn olive. And I cut them down, and they desperately trying to grow back from the root. Does that make sense for you? Roscoe, what have you found down there? What are you after? Are you just trying to work off that cupcake you got? A little fast dog probably didn't need a cupcake, did he, with all that sugar in it? Did it wind you up too? Got you down there barking at boogers? You down there seeing little green men and whatnot? Huh? Are they little one-legged green men down there hopping around, getting up on the roof and whatnot? What are you after? Do you have a body like a lizard and a head like a wolf and a big old long tail? Do you run real fast? Little body just getting it? Oh, Lord. I'm describing some boogers that some of the neighbors have described after some of their crystal methamphetamine episodes. If you know what I mean. Might be what Roscoe's after. 2 different types of pear. The wild ones have stickers. Yeah, we got some wild pears with stickers that don't really grow no fruit. Lespedeza is a type of clover. Yeah, Roscoe, he greatly enjoys going down there and barking at something there, Philip. I don't know what he's found down there, but it excites him quite a bit. I might ought to move that plastic tub right yonder, y'all reckon? It's cracked all the way down the side, so I mean, it ain't gonna be lost no whole lot. Bradford pears. So y'all, these we got all kind of plants, and it amazes me that we can all be describing the same plant, and 2 or 3 different people from different areas of the country is calling it different things. And honestly, y'all, nobody is wrong. I mean, that is the way of the world until we got this internet. I mean, people that knowledge was handed down, people come up with stuff as best they could. I was watching a thing one day about some music. I think it was Doc Watson, and he was talking about songs, and they were talking about some of the songs were the music was just passed by word of mouth. Like somebody went down and the lyrics would be different in these songs in different places if they played them. Like it was the same song, same melody, but the lyrics would be different because by word of mouth they got changed up over the years because they didn't have the internet. So it amazes me how we talking about stuff that's the same plant and we're calling it by different names sometimes. And a lot of people they want to try to correct somebody else. It's the same way with fish. You take my beloved grinnell. It's a shoe pick in Louisiana. It's a mudfish in certain places. It's a dogfish in places. It's a scaly cat. It's a cypress trout. I mean, they got all different kind of names, and I'm just naming some of them. I know there's some more that I'm forgetting, and nobody's really wrong. It's just that's what it was known as. And I got into a thing on crappie the other day on Instagram, and there's some girl. She said this is a sockeye. And some guy, he commented on it, was like, no, he said, in Florida, this is a speck. And I'm like, well, here in Mississippi, it's a white perch. And we literally had people on there trying to correct us, and it was a crappie. They thought we was too stupid to know what it was. And I'm like, you're the idiot because you don't realize we're just talking about what it's called in different parts of the country. We all know it's a crappie, and it ain't a crappie. I'm firm on that. I will not be corrected. How many of y'all say crappie? Raise your hand. Do you say crappie or is it crappie? Because I'm convinced it's crappie. If I had to call it a crappie, I'd just call it white perch. There's no way I'd say crappie. Because that's a crappy way to call a fish. I'll get somebody worked up in a minute. They'll get mad as fire to be smoke coming out of the head. Larry said it's a crappie, ain't he? ah, it's mostly from further up north that you hear crappie more than crappie. And technically, neither one's wrong. Again, it's just know what a red-eye fish is. Probably a goggle eye. Georgia, South Carolina call them crappie. Yeah, there's a lot, and there's people here that call them specks. I've heard them here called specks, but yeah, we got a goggle eye here is what it's called. It's a warmouth, I think, is technically what we're referring to, but we've all called them goggle eye here, and they stink. Oh Lord, they stink. Now this scooter shell, I don't know. I don't know what a scooter shell is. Alicia said it was a Google eye. I can tell you what. Billy Boner said I call him supper down here. I hope you talking about the crappie and the crappie, Billy, and not the Google eyes. A rock bass and a goggle eye is two different fish. A rock bass is a little bit different than the goggle eye. Because you can eat the rock bass. The goggle eye I wouldn't recommend eating. Now, you can eat it. I mean, you can eat anything. You can eat dirt. I just wouldn't, I wouldn't. You probably won't see a goggle eye cooking on Spirit of the Outdoors Network TV. I mean, less times gets bad hard. Times get hard. I'm not going to starve. I'm not going to sit here full of pride and starve to death. I might eat a possum before I eat a Google eye. full term for the trunk of the car. Put your poke in a scooter shell. You know, didn't know that. Didn't know that one. That's a new one on me, Cracking Foot. These down here, now they don't always stay. It's probably one of them hot summer, but we had some. Well, I ought not tell this, but I'm gonna tell it. We had a basket put out, made out of chicken wire. We put it in one of them backwater sloughs with a throat downstream. And we went back about 2 days later, and we got the canoe paddled in there. We're gonna pull that basket up. Man, we got to pull it up. That thing was heavy. We always something in here fine. We gonna have. Man, we pulled that thing up. It was full of goggle eye, and we laid it over in the boat. We started pouring them things out. Realized it was full of goggle eye. They'll get up in them dead trees. You catch them up in a dead tree, you know, hollow part of a cypress tree. And they smelled so bad, I started throwing them back out. I said, I ain't no way I'm eating them things. I don't know. It may have just, I don't know why they smelled, but I remember that. They just, Uncle Sasquatch, thank you for joining in with us. Have a good night and a happy Easter morning. And we'll see you next time. Yeah, I know where Scuba. They got a big, sophisticated college over there called Scuba Tech. I think it's got 3 classrooms, may have 4 now. No, it's actually bigger than that. They actually had a state championship football team a couple years hand running over there. Yeah, I know where Scuba is. Over on 45 Highway. Yellow suckers. We got suckers here. I think ours is different. I was going to go after some, and the water got back up, and I never could get the water, catch the water back right to get on them. I wanted to go down there actually and gig some of them. Possibly take a throw net, but I was afraid I'd destroy one of my cast nets. But me and my buddy Don Lanier have been talking about these sucker fish. Now, he has been researching cooking them, and they do smoke them. They do fillet them and fry them. And they're, like you said, they got a lateral bone in them, like a chain pickerel does, what we call a jack. And they very good, but you have to be careful cutting them to, and I've never eaten one, but they catch them on red worms, so, or some kind of worm. I didn't know that they caught them on a worm. I thought they ate plants, but apparently those sucker fish eat some little bugs and critters off the floor of the swamp. This pine wood is a constant, you gotta steadily feed it. We fixing to have a show enough fire going here in a minute. Cause this is how I'm fixing to solve this problem. Alright, that's done deal there. That one's empty. We'll burn that oven tomorrow night. That'll get so hot there in a minute, my back will be melted to this chair. I look like I was on a barbecue grill. I have them lines up and down my back. Red-eye bass. these suckers, talking about them, the one I saw the other day, I didn't quite get it on camera, but you see when I went through a low water crossing when me and Andrew was catching that grinnell, they run and that, but when I wouldn't film and they was one come up and I mean had a pink looking stripe down his side. So I don't know what breed them are. They according to their fins, and there's a lot of different stuff that you can distinguish which species they are. I hadn't caught one and got it out where I could look at it and figure out which ones we have here. But catch suckers fishing for catfish with worms. I'm gonna have to try it and see if I can catch some. Dave, the perch in these ponds, I took Andrew up here the other day. We went and tried to fish them crappie that we caught that I skinned or cleaned the other day in the video. We worked hard to catch them few fish in the pond. So they're done doing what they're going to do in the pond. They're full on in some of the lakes here, but we're getting on the tail end of it. Now we've got like Kemper Lake and Ross Barnett Reservoir is a little behind. Kemper, because of the clarity of the water and how deep it is, it's a little behind in temperature. Ross Barnett is a little behind because of how big it is and the water constantly running through it. A lot of fresh water pouring into it on that river system. So I don't know exactly. Those people still catching them, but yeah, we getting on the tail end of crappie, but they not over with here yet. Now, down south where some of y'all are, they probably are over down that way. Jimmy, I've probably eaten some goggle eye before, but I don't choose to eat them. I'm reading all the comments, trying to see where I have gotten lost at, y'all. I know I get quiet, and those of you that ain't on here reading comments, I know a lot of people be watching this on TV. I hope that fire looks good on your big screen. I'm trying to catch up with comments. I know you ain't reading everything. Some of you be watching it and reading them on your phone. Dog sound way off. Oh, cracking foot! I didn't know that. I have to be careful handling them. I don't want to get fish feces all over my good Spirit of the Outdoors shirt. I'd have to go swimming and wash it off. Go in skinny swimming. I figured in that low water crossing, Sam, I could gig them down there where it's shallow. They get up on that spawning or something. Frog gigging will open this week here. We can start grabbing frogs this week. Probably gonna go at some point. I don't know, it's gonna turn cool later of the week. They probably won't be on. You need good warm weather for the frogs. Dinah and jump in the fish tank. That'd make a heck of a YouTube video, wouldn't it? I might have to start one of them OnlyFans if I do that. They probably wouldn't want nobody want to watch mine. Jason, our season here starts in April. And last year I caught them in late April, I think, is when I went the first time. Bobby Garland baby shad baits. First of July. I think a big mess of frog legs would be a good cooking video too. Y'all, I've been wanting to cook in my disc blade. I hadn't cooked nothing in my disc blade in quite a while. Boy, they wound up, ain't they? Mudcat, that's what I'm talking about. If you smear around on that frog kitchen, by the time you get there, somebody else done grabbed them up. Well, we do have a season on frogs here, and it's from April till sometime over in the end of the summer. I'm going to have to get hooked up with some fishing down in Louisiana because y'all got a whole lot more season than we do. I think you got Tony Satcheries, and I hear a bunch of y'all like that two-step seasoning. That Camp Dog is pretty good stuff. I'm favoring it, and I know that several of them old boys that's got cooking videos. They all make their own seasoning every time they get them a channel going. But some of them, they want to cuss so much I can't watch them. And if somebody goes to cussing a whole lot on their channel, y'all, I'm done with it. I'm not gonna promote or watch no bunch of cussing and beer drinking. I mean, I have had people that, I was going to help them push their channel or whatever else, and first thing you know, they cussing and got beer, and I ain't even going to watch it, much less, like, try to plug your channel and all of that stuff, because I don't agree with it. I'm not going to watch no bunch of profanity. I ain't. I don't use it. I don't put it on my channel. And I'm not going to recommend channels that do use it. Y'all agree with that? I mean, I don't understand why people get off on thinking they got to cuss every other breath. I don't like it. I don't want to hear it. So anyway, I don't know. Slap your mama. I heard Kendall Fedrick's seasoning was good. And I want me one of them Magna Light oval pots. And I missed out on one last weekend. I was saving my money to buy a fish finder, and I could have bought one of them oval Magna Light pots for, I think, $75 at one of them antique shops. And I've thought about that pot ever since I walked off and left it. So if some of y'all's looking for a Christmas present to send me, I want one of them Magna Light pots when you run across a good one. Them silver, they look like aluminum, but they're Magna Light. And they oval and got a lid on it. You cook in them. There's an old boy got a channel called the Pollywog Cabin. I think it's on Instagram. And he does some cooking with it, and he cooks in one. Does some good cooking. Now, I can't watch the old boy with the cornbread. He's got a filthy mouth. I think his cooking's all right, but I can't get off on watching him cook, so I don't support him either. Him and old Stale Cracker, he's puts on too much of a show for me. If some people like all that, have at it. I ain't gonna knock his channel, or I ain't gonna talk bad about him. I ain't never eaten none of his food, so I don't know if his cooking's good or what. But he puts on. I mean, he's like a monkey in a cage in there jumping around. I did. Lord, Lord, Lord. Yeah, Alicia, everybody's watching YouTube because they want to tune out the garbage. Well, then when you find these, but now there's some people. You look at these channels, it's full of all the filth, and they got 500,000 followers, and here we are trying to keep clean, good channels, and you struggle to get 20,000. I mean, it took me 5 years to get to 22,000 subscribers, and YouTube is doing their dead level best to choke me down now because they won't show none of my videos. You would think as many videos as I put out, every now and then one would go viral on something, get a bunch of views. And the last one I had that done good was last fall back sometime, but it's because I preach on here, and YouTube don't like it. So I'm really going to throw a cog in that wheel tomorrow. Probably about half of y'all ain't going to like me after tomorrow, but I done what the Lord told me to do. Yeah, 75 is a real good deal, Dave. I can tell you it is. I'll tell y'all, talking about the cussing, I'll tell you, that a mayfly? That is a mayfly. That was a mayfly. Oh, the deal with the cuss, some people say that's a sign of ignorance, and I'm not gonna say they're not intelligent people or that they're ignorant people because they cuss. I will say that they have no respect for nobody but themselves. They self lovers. That's what they are. They don't care what you think. They don't care, if they offend you, and they don't care, And if they ain't got no respect for me, I don't want nothing to do with them. What is the best flashlight, Glenn? I'm gonna be honest with you. They've sent me a couple of different flashlights. I have linked them in past videos. The little, is it Ode Pro? Ode Pro lights are good lights, and then there's I did another one, a review on another good light, and it's a good light, but it gets bad hot. It's 10 times brighter than the other ones, than the Ode Pros. But now it gets hot on that handle if you use it very long. It's it ain't a Sure, it's oh crap, I can't remember now what it is. I'll have to go get the light. It's down in the shed. But the headlight, that Danforth headlight's about as good as you can get. But now it's a big apparatus. It's got a big battery pack on the back and a kind of a big deal on the front. But now you can see out there. But now it has a good harness to go on your head so that it ain't like flopping around and getting on your nerves. And that's what I use when I'm fishing and doing stuff at night and I need to see and need both hands. I want a headlight. Now, if I'm just walking around the yard doing stuff, I like a hand light because, I can hold it right there while I look over here and, but the Streamlight has made good lights. I've had some string lights, but now mine have not been good quality. In other words, they didn't last long. I've got 3 stream lights that we bought like off the Mac Tool truck and different places, and they've all been thrown away. But now I got a light off of Amazon. It's a big square light with a big head, and it's bright, but it's a big bulky light. And I didn't give a lot for it, and it has lasted. It still works good, but I don't use it a whole lot anyway. Y'all will have to go back in my videos. I can't remember which that one light did, but now the Ode Pro, they made good lights, but headlight, the Danforth light is worth its money. Now I will back up and stand by it. I've had good luck with my Danforth headlight, but well, Jason, on tattoos, I'm gonna put it like this. I don't like tattoos. I don't like tattoos at all. I don't know that they gonna put you in hell, and I have a tattoo right here on my chest, and right now I regret what's on my chest. So that's my reason for saying I don't like them. What? Where you been?
Nana's, I'm back from Nana's.
You back from Nana's? Well, we knew it was mighty peaceful for a little while. I figured you must have RUNNOFT.
Well,
Yeah, you done scratched your elbow. How'd you do that?
in the couch on the metal thing.
Yeah. It was because of them cupcakes.
Yeah.
Go get some of them boards over yonder and throw them in the fire.
Okay.
Look, hey, on the wood pile. Look on the wood pile. There's a board on the wood pile.
Oh.
Oh. You let me put it on there. You bring it here.
Where's he at?
He left. What are you doing? He's trying to grab a frog. Stop him from killing the frog.
That is a bug.
Where's he get your feet smashed?
It's a bug.
Y'all not burning the wood. I went in there and picked
It
it
was
up
a
earlier.
bug.
Yeah.
It's a bug.
Do you want that?
Here.
I want the buggy. Poor buggy. I want to feed my frog.
Keep your shoes on.
Oh.
Are you still alive?
Mudcat, he did get his ears lowered. Come over here and tell him about your haircut. Did you get your ears lowered? Get over there close up there and look where they can see you. He can't be still. It's just not possible.
Daddy, I want that. Well, the good thing I left that thing open for my phone to get out. He escaped now and came over here.
Yeah, what's on you?
Okay.
He's got to have a good bath.
Right here.
Yeah, and on your shirt sleeve.
Darn.
Yeah.
Dad.
Brian, I lied to you, didn't I? Well, I got to thinking about them blocks over there, and I decided we might as well burn them wood. Lawson done banged his head on the hardwoods.
Baby Lawson.
She said he hit his head today.
How?
I don't know. She said he was just trying to see how hard the floor was. But he used his forehead. Yeah, Brody's done that too. He done bounced off of.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're a baby daddy. Baby daddy.
Back to the tattoos, y'all. As far as me sitting here and saying, hey, if you got tattoos, you go into hell, or if you get a tattoo, you go into hell, I'm not going to say that. My deal is there's nothing that you put on your body that you're going to be happy with later on. But looking at it from a spiritual standpoint, y'all, in all reality, this body is not ours. Once you're filled with the Holy Ghost and you're trying to don't let that get in the fire, and you're trying to live for the Lord, the Bible says that to present ourselves, our bodies, a living sacrifice. In the Old Testament, people had to make a blood sacrifice every year. There's sacrifice to pay for sins. The New Testament says that our bodies is a living sacrifice because this body is a temple of the Holy Spirit.
Hey,
So,
Dad.
put it in there.
Can I burn them?
Put it in there.
Can I burn bugs?
What does put it in there mean?
You burned
But
those bugs.
all the bugs is right here. I knocked them off. So the thing about it is there has to be some sacrifice, and I'm not going to sit here and say, well, hey, if you do this, you go into hell, because there's a lot of mercy. There's a lot of grace. God is going to judge us as he sees fit. That's like me talking about the speaking in tongues. There's a lot of reason for speaking in tongues. There's a lot of necessity for it. For me to sit here and tell you, well, everybody that don't talk in tongues is going to hell, I'm not going to say that. But I do feel like it is very important because of the experience that it is evidence of. Tattoos is one of those things that, it's like you're saying, well, I'm not happy with this body and I want to do things to it to make it more presentable, to make it like God didn't do a good enough a job on me and I'm going to make it better. It's kind of the attitude. That's like jewelry. The Bible talks about jewelry in several different places. It don't agree. The Bible don't really condone you wearing a lot of jewelry and stuff and decorating. It talks about costly array. And it talks about all these different things. It don't say that you're going to hell for it, that it's a sin. It just says don't do it. That's enough, son. You ain't even getting the wood in the fire. That's enough. Don't put no more if you can't throw it up in there. You see this? That ain't near about in the fire. See? Don't get no more wood. Leave it alone. Don't get another piece.
I burned those.
Yeah, but they've thrown way over yonder. They're not even close to the fire. You're just slinging them.
They burn up.
That's a terrible throw you are.
They burn up.
If I had an arm like that, I'd just quit throwing.
They burn.
You couldn't hit an elephant in the rump with a bass fiddle.
Those bugs look burnt. They burnt saying they pirates. Pirates are brave. They want to get burnt. They don't want to get burnt.
The scripture about tattoos that they use, I think, is in Lamentations somewhere, but it's referring to the marking of celebrating the dead. It's an Old Testament ritual where they marked themselves in remembrance of the dead. And as the New Testament, I mean, it has kind of debunked all of that stuff, but now I don't. Riding a shaw, a half a sheet of tin on hinges. I don't know where you're talking about putting the hinges. But I have not, whatever it is. It's one of them things, Jason, you just kind of got to, there's a lot of people in churches with a lot of tattoos. I'm like I said, I'm not no way going to say, you got tattoos, you're going to hell. I don't do that. I ain't going to say here and say you ain't going to go because of them, because frankly, I don't know, when you stand before God, he's going to be the one to decide, you know what, I don't like this, or I do, and I don't know. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to try to preach things that I'm not sure about. I will push things that I believe is a necessity in. And it's like, the big thing that I have right now is the speaking in tongues. It's all through the Bible. And I keep getting all kind of people that want to argue with me about it and say, but there's one scripture over here in the Bible that says it's not, that it's, you got to have an interpreter, or you got it, that You know, this one eunuch over here didn't speak in tongues, but it never said that the eunuch didn't speak in tongues. It just didn't mention that he did. It just was emphasizing on his baptism. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, well, if you don't speak in tongues, you're going to hell. Because I don't know who's going to hell. I really don't. I mean, I have no way of knowing. Only God knows how he's going to judge each individual person. I do know he preached it strongly. I do know he told Peter to preach it, and Peter preached it strongly. He come down in that, I mean, it's all through the book of Acts. So that is why I push it, and it's because I have experienced it, and I do know it is important. I do know the significance of it. And I realize that you're dealing with a lot of people that don't know anything about it. They have not experienced it. They don't, all they know is they've read some scriptures about it. And without experiencing something, it's hard for you to have an opinion on something and be accurate. Now, once somebody has had this experience and then turn around and say, you know what, I don't think that's, that's, then you could have that opinion. But I don't know of anybody that has ever had the experience that turned around and said, I don't believe there was much to that. That wasn't real or whatever. I've never heard that. I got you, Rodney. I hadn't done that. I hadn't.
Can I take this in the fire with this bug?
Yeah, throw it in there. But let's, when we get into all of that stuff, it's not my place to judge anybody. It's my place to encourage people to get closer to God. That is what my job is. As a minister, I'm not going to try to condemn people and say, oh, you're going to hell for this and you're going to hell for that. Because we all know there's a bunch of people that's going to go to hell. And probably for a lot of the things that we're doing or maybe doing, whatever. But for me to sit here and try to act like I know and me to be the judge and say you can do this and you can't do that, the only time I'm going to say don't do this is when God really puts in my spirit and says you need to preach, don't do this. And then I'm going to preach it. And I'm going to preach it whether anybody likes it or not. I have shied away from things like tongues for a long time because it is very controversial and it raises a lot of hair on a lot of people. But as of late, God has been pushing me to push it. And it is because we are walking into the last day. We are walking into the 9th hour. And it is high time right now that we get as close to God as we can get. Because here's the deal. It ain't about heaven or hell. It's about you making it until the rapture. Because you're going to need everything you got to make it to get as close to God as you can get. Because if you're a little bit weak in faith, when they start really pressuring you, you're going to fold. You think, oh, no, I'm strong. I can do this. You don't never know what you're going to face. You don't know what's going to be put before you before we walk through that veil and step on the other side and we're, our race is run.
I burnt those bugs.
Okay.
They did.
So, you need everything good, and that is my whole calling is, hey, get closer. Come try this, come get this, come have this, come do this. It's biblical. There's Bible for it. And if you're looking for one place to say, well, the Bible don't say it's necessary over here. Well, if this doesn't say it's necessary over here in 5 different places, how are you going to argue with that with one scripture? So, my only thing here is I'm not trying to gain a following for preaching. I didn't even want to preach on YouTube. Y'all, I didn't. I did not want to get on YouTube and just try to be a preacher. That was the furthest thing from my mind. I wanted to film outdoor videos. I wanted to hunt and fish and garden and and film life. And the Lord kept pushing me, do this, do this. And you wonder, why do I have the anointing I have? Why do I sound different from a lot of other preachers you've heard? Why? Because I have been filled with this Spirit. Because God is speaking through me and it's an anointing. And I am following God. I'm not trying to push my agenda on you. Or I'm not trying to share with you something I have just conjured up in my mind and I like it. For me personally, I could care less what you do. I want you all to go to heaven. But as far as it affected me in my life, what difference does it make to me what you believe? The only reason I preach it and I push for you to get more of God is because God is pushing me to push it. And that is the only reason. It ain't because of money in my pocket. I don't do anything that's for God for money. In fact, I'm a little put back by people that have made a career out of being a preacher. And frankly, most of them ain't even real good at it. But yet that's what they do to make a living. And I don't know. And I'll tell you something else that's going to ruffle a lot of feathers. I've seen Bible college run more preachers than it's benefited them. And they won't none of them admit that, but it's the truth. Y'all, you asked me what my take is on a scripture. I don't know what that scripture even says right now off the top of my head. I mean, you'd have to type the whole scripture out. I'd have to be sitting here with the Bible and look it up and read it to say it, to even comment on it, because I don't even know what it. I mean, there's some that I know, but for the most part, I don't know what everything is.
Ready to come in? Huh? What you doing?
Seth Harrison, I have not ever been in one. I have been very close to one, and well, yes, I have been in one. I most certainly have. When I was I was probably 12 or 13. One come through our yard. Well, I was younger than that. I was probably about 10, maybe 9 or 10. And it blowed down all kind of trees in our yard, blowed shingles off the house, and then it, like the next house past ours, it took a trailer off the blocks and laid it over on the, nearby on the side. It just set it off the blocks all cattywampus, and then it destroyed some houses on down the road. And then I watched a major one come through that I filmed, and we went over there and done all that, but I was not in it. But now we had one that come through here that was a small one that knocked a few things down, and it blowed real hard here. Blowed some very big chicken pens from down there all the way up here in the backyard. But it didn't do any damage to this house. But it blowed some trees down, but it was small because it kind of skipped around. But we have a lot of them. I've been fortunate so far. God has kept his hand on me. I don't know exactly which one of these brands these are. These were actually, I thought they was I don't know right where the tag is on them. These have the buttons in the front. I don't know what brand they are. I actually got them, a lady that I know, her husband outgrew them and gave me like a stack of them. Diana, we'll see you later. We're not gonna be on here long. It is 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? We are fixing to have to go to bed. Brody needs to get in there and go to bed. He is burning these June bugs up. You cooking June? How many of them you gonna eat?
No.
Were you cooking them?
I'm burning them, so.
Well, what if I throw you in there?
Well, then I'm burning those bugs so they won't eat us up.
Lord, tore our house down in 77. Well, y'all, I have enjoyed it tonight. Hey, quit spitting all over, son.
Pee-pee, I peed on you.
You gonna think it. Sam, I agree. He has. You go back and watch my testimony, and the video how God changed my life, and I tell my story. And I was as far gone as anybody could get, and still be functional. I was still working and and keeping the bills paid. But other than that, my mind was shot. I was an alcoholic. I was consumed by it. Worthless. And God changed me. I did not well, I'm going to straighten up and start going to church and get better, and I'm going to fight this, and I'm going to struggle and do better. It wasn't like that, y'all. God changed me in a moment. I mean, everything in my life, my affections shifted. Things that I was like music. I was hugely in love with music. Rock, country, all of it. I loved it. Now I could care less about music. I can listen to any kind of music for a little bit and that's a good song. Oh well. I mean, it don't end. It's my interest shifted. My love for alcohol just was gone. I didn't even want it. And before I couldn't live without it. So God made a huge difference in my life. And I owe him everything, y'all. And that's why this time of year, Easter, and knowing he died on the cross while I was still a sinner, before I was ever born, before I ever become anything, he died so that I could live.
Firecrackers.
What have you got?
Firecrackers.
You're going to throw one in the fire?
You do it.
You throw it in there. You can't even hit the fire with it. What'd it do?
Nothing.
Nothing. I think you got some duds.
It's a dud.
It means it ain't no good. There it went. Don't keep doing that.
I'm going to.
Anyway, y'all, thank y'all for watching tonight and hanging out with us and talking for a while. I truly appreciate it, y'all. And I want all of you to know I love you. I appreciate you watching this channel. I appreciate y'all supporting us, buying pottery, buying t-shirts, buying all this stuff, and supporting what we do. And y'all, I want you to know that I don't condemn anybody. I'm not trying to portray anything that I'm not. I'm not trying to be mean or ugly or hateful. But when I preach, I'm going to preach truth. I'm going to preach what God tells me to preach. And I'm going to stand firm on that. I don't want to be arrogant with it. I don't want to be mean with it. I don't want to be offensive with it. I want you to be better. I'm not about telling somebody they're wrong or they're going to hell. That ain't why I want to do what I do. I don't want to tell people that. Quit, Brody. That's enough, son.
One more.
One more, and that's it. Don't do no more. And anyway, though, I just want y'all to know that I do love you, and I'm so thankful that y'all want to watch me and want to know what I have to say and what I think. And I'm honestly, y'all, from the depths and the sincerity of my heart, I'm doing my dead level best to feel my way along something that I have no idea what I'm doing. But I know who I love, and I know what he says to me and puts in my heart. And I'm doing my best to follow that and be true to that. Am I perfect? No. Y'all, there's things that I do that is not right. It's not, hey, I'm sitting here trying to portray that I'm without sin, that I'm perfect. There's things in my life that I could point out that that's wrong, and I got to fix that. And I might be struggling with it. God cleaned up some things in my life and fix some things, but you know, there's still some things arise that I'm struggling and fighting with. There's temptations that I battle all the time. So, you know, and your struggle may be different from mine. Hush a second. And your struggle may be different from mine. As long as you're struggling with it and you're trying to do your best to get closer to God, and when God offers you something that you know's of God, you take it and run with it, and you'll be better for it. So anyway, love y'all. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. What's the best way to do things,
That's
Brody?
the way you like to do it. Poop in your underwear.
You got to talk to them. This ain't the camera.
You gotta poop in your underwear. And pee in them and fart.
Hey, don't talk like that.
Bye.
You didn't hear me say that, did you? Huh? You didn't hear me say that, did you? He's fixing to get in trouble.
It's bit.
He's mean as a booger man. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one.